Welcome back to the channel. We're back, the Comics Aficionados, live right here on Thinking Critical YouTube. We actually missed a show last week, and that almost never happens. In fact, one time we had a fire like 300 yards from my house. We didn't cancel the show. We went on as planned. I've had 2 children since I've been here. We never missed a show. We've been on vacations, but the internet bugs got us. We ended up missing one. It doesn't happen very often, but I'm glad everyone's back. I hope you're ready for your Geek Talk Spectacular. But I do have to start out with a note, an update on our good friend Skip and Tosh, good friend of the channel. Love him like a brother. He, as I've talked about a couple times here on the channel, he has some medical issues going on right now. He actually has cancer. He's been diagnosed. And this week he finally finished his first round of chemo. I believe he starts his next round in a few weeks. So if you guys have prayers, if you've got thoughts, if you got Care Bear stares, if you got any good vibes to send out to Skip and Tosh, definitely reach out to him on social media. Let him know that you're there for him and that he's not alone, and we're all in the fight with him. And as an extra bonus, a show of solidarity, I shaved my pubes in solidarity with Skip and Tosh, and I'm daring Josh McDonald to shave his balls as well.
I mean, that happens on a regular.
Oh my goodness! I knew you were already there. Oh, that's terrible.
Wait, are there?
Doc, are you in?
Out?
Are you sharing? You're not shaving your balls for Skip.
I was gonna say. I thought everybody already did it anyway. I thought that was the Manscaped thing. We do that these days.
Maybe the millennials.
Hey, they don't.
Gen Xers.
We don't. Hey, look, we don't want to floss when we're going down. So I don't think they want to floss when they're going down either.
Jeez, Doc.
Hey, I'm Irish. I mean, it's an optical illusion. You know, less foliage, more plumbing.
There you go. So that is the bad news, and definitely, we're definitely in this with Skip. Hopefully, everything works out with him, and we'll all shave our balls in a show of solidarity for Skip and all that stuff going forward. Also, we got a great panel here today. Gabe from Comical Pigeons, what's going on with your background? All of a sudden, you're blurry. Your hands are blurry.
Well, I'm trying to, set up a new camera. I'm trying some audio things to try and make things more interesting. And, just looking at a window out into nature is not very exciting. So I thought I'd mix it up a little bit and give folks something to captivate and engage their eyeballs.
Now, if you are a fan of indie comic books, he's the man behind Comical Pigeons. Also does a lot of DC reviews for Weird Science. I'm not seeing as many Marvel reviews lately.
And Marvel. Well, Marvel was a light week last week, but this week was we had quite a bit of Marvel. So I am the Renaissance man of comic reviews. So if you're looking for something, odds are I've heard of it or read it or reviewed it. So great to be here. Great to talk about comics. And I'm sure there is going to be nothing to talk about of any consequence that happened this week, but we'll find a way to make it interesting.
There are no controversies to speak of, so we're going to have to make it up on the fly.
Not at all. Not in the least little bit.
Next up, we do have Drew, a.k.a. Dolan, on the channel. Congratulations. You've had like your biggest crowdfunding comic book yet.
Yeah, it's been 3 days, but Power Hour number 2 is currently at $77,000 in just, I think, 3.5 days. The fastest ever to that dollar amount. And thanks to, if anyone's in the chat that's backed it, thank you. If you're not in the chat, thank you anyway. But yeah, if you get a chance, you're on Kickstarter, check out Power Hour number 2.
And I've talked to Drew behind the scenes, and he's got like 5 other projects that I know of, and they're all going to be pretty big deals. You got a lot of stuff coming in the future.
Yeah, one of which I think, Josh, I kind of hinted at Josh. He's got the scoop in the first interview, and I can announce it for his channel. But
Josh, is that true?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Humming.
Jesus, man. I'm just handing off the aficionados to Josh. He does a better job anyway. No more schlubs. But congratulations on all the success, Drew. Obviously, just joking there with Josh. I would definitely go on his channel as well. He's got a lot of good things popping there. Josh, you are live from Texas. Freshly groomed?
Yes.
There you go.
Freshly groomed.
How's everything going?
Are you
reading comic books again?
I am. This week I'm behind though because I had a licensing exam yesterday. So I
Congratulations, kid.
And you're going to turn your camera off because your internet's not keeping up.
Yeah, my internet is throttling really bad right now, so I'm about to pop my camera off.
All right, well, I'll throw Gabe here in the middle. He can be the meat and the Sammy. You know what I mean?
Popping
Between
your
the
camera
two
off, is that what
faces.
they call it these days? Popping your camera off? Is that the phrase?
Let's
Pop-
see if this helps a little bit.
Pop
Man,
my
the other
camera.
day I was talking to Aaron Sparrow.
Popped by
And he
Why?
said he had to
Why?
flip the brisket or something like that. And I was like, dude, you don't got to tell me when you're doing that. You know, just turn your camera off and come back in 5 minutes.
5
Pretty
minutes.
rough. I don't know. How long is it? The guy's a marathoner. I don't know. And you know what else happened to me, Josh?
What?
Can you hear me, Josh?
What happened?
The other
Yeah, I
day,
can
my
hear you.
wife
Can you hear me?
asked me if I wanted the devil's corn dog.
Dare I ask what this is? I've never heard of this phrase.
Yeah,
I thought she was-
I don't know what that is.
I wouldn't recommend you Google that. I would not recommend
I
you
wouldn't
Google
either. I was like, what
I
are you
mean, I'm
trying to
gonna
do to
Google
me?
it.
Like, I don't want the devil's corn dog. It turned out it was just a spicy corn dog from a new restaurant. And when it turned out to be delicious, but I would have changed the name.
I would have too. Hey, Wes, did you purposely try to match your drapes today?
I did not. My wife got new drapes because the other ones like matched the couch, so
Your
she wanted to
drapes match
spice
your
up with a new
carpet.
color. But you know, I guess the carpet matches the drapes or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Look at
that was
this,
completely, you know, this is my Marvel shirt. This is my Hulk shirt. So there we go.
Oh, heck.
Wasn't really
yeah.
planning on it that way. Who else we got here? We've talked to those guys. We had Eric O'Sullivan, the Sultan of Soup himself. How you doing?
How you
Sully?
doing? I'm wearing my Comics Aficionados t-shirt.
Man,
Look
that's
at this.
beautiful.
It's beautiful. You can
It
get
must be
yours.
cold in your apartment, huh?
It's wicked nice in here. It's
Dude,
springtime.
you can
in
cut
Boston.
glass with those bad boys.
Woo!
Yeah, but say you're a little nipply.
Hey,
Man, I think the devil's corn dog got him thinking.
It got
You know
me
what I mean?
going. I was thinking,
Oh.
Cheetos flaming Cheetos sprinkle on a corn dog. Dude, I'm down for that. How you doing,
We
everyone?
lost somebody? Did Doc just drop out?
No, he'll be
Like,
back.
Doc-
Yeah, Doc's
No
computer's
problem.
having issues too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. It's one of those
Yeah.
days. Last week it was me. Now it's all the panel. Eric, what's going on with the channel?
What, dude? I'm like, hey, for the thousands of people that are watching this show, come and subscribe to my channel because I'm literally under 40 subs away from breaking my first 1,000. I'm so psyched. I'm that
Are you
close.
serious?
Serious, man?
Heck yeah.
I'm like,
All right.
about
Well,
100.
we'll all get the word out on social media after
Yes.
the channel. We'll get you over
Let's
1,000,
do it.
hopefully.
Yeah, smash. And then, just like recording content, do a daily comic book show, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily. We talk about comic books. I mean, I met a lot of cool cats through your live chat here, Wes, and I see a lot of familiar faces every day. We take a break together and we just talk about comic books every day. It's possible. And having a lot of fun and sharing the love. And thanks for letting me, do it here with you guys here with Corn Dogs. Diablo.
Doc is definitely not experiencing technical difficulties. Flipping the brisket, if you know what I mean.
Flipping the brisket.
Oh my goodness. We do have some super chats. Let's hear what these people have to say. Miss Maria Khan, perhaps as a hint as to what we're going to be talking about here in the next few minutes.
Star Trek 2.
Very nicely done. We've got Common Sense. Strange Academy teams up with Miles Morales. Kind of a weird thing. I love Strange Academy, Drew. It's my favorite ongoing from Marvel. But I don't know that I love Strange Academy without Scotty Young and Humberto Ramos.
Yeah, it's not the same. Not the same at all. What's the point? Unless you're just that big a fan of Strange Academy, you can handle it without the two superstars. The reason why that comic exists, those two names, then I'm not checking it out. It's not worth
Miles
it.
Morales doesn't do it for me. It doesn't feel like he should be there. He's
He
already
shouldn't
a hero.
Yeah, he's the odd man out. There's no reason for him to be anywhere near that comic.
Well, is he going to be like the camp counselor?
Maybe his
Weird.
powers are now magic based. Who knows?
Yeah, kind of strange. Daniel Beatty had cancer 2 times in 4 years. I wish him all the best.
Jeez.
Man, well done, sir. 2-time cancer survivor. Glad that you got your story to tell, and hopefully you're sending out some good vibes and prayers for Skip, as we are absolutely with him in what is going to be a pretty enormous battle. Like I said, he got his first round of chemo this week. Went better than he anticipated, but we'll see how things go over time. Hopefully, everything clears up soon. Caleb says, Manscaped smoother than a boiled carrot.
Ooh.
It sounds hot. That's all I got to say. But we're doing it for Skip, folks. If you haven't shaved your balls yet, you need to get in on this.
Clip
He
for Skip.
Absolutely. Which Caleb also says, which failure this week did not surprise you? Cleopatra, Miller Lite, Dove Soap, or the Star Wars Hotel being shut down? I guess it would have to be. Well, did not surprise me. The only one I didn't know of failing was Dove Soap. So
Yeah, huh?
which was
That
the
was
biggest failure? I mean, Star Wars Hotel is like $1 billion failure, so I guess that's the biggest one, huh?
I mean, Hetchler and Koch, the gun company, they had a boo boo with their social media too, and they walked it back.
Well, sometimes it's best to apologize when you make a mistake, but you can't be surprised with these things anymore. I am going to talk to Aaron Sparrow a little bit about that Star Wars Hotel thing. We already talked about the Cleopatra stuff. Did you watch that one, Gabe? You seem like a history guy.
I am, but on that one, I decided to beg off on that just because they were already coming from when I watch documentaries. I'm looking for authenticity and historical accuracy.
Place of honesty.
A place of honesty. So you can tell right off the bat that was not going to happen. And so if that's what you're doing, then you're just giving me historical fiction, which, I like historical fiction if you're doing fantasy or some kind of sci-fi twist or something, but Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, something like that. That's historical. That's my kind of historical fiction.
Parody, yeah.
Yeah, it's parody. But for this, no, if you're just trying to kind of pander and propaganda, that's not my deal.
Did you like the History of the World Part 1?
Yes, I did. Actually, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I'm a Mel Brooks fan going way back. Gene Wilder, all those guys. So that's my brand of comedy. So but yes, it would fall under historical fiction, I think.
Absolutely. I love that movie. Lane Kramer says, I will say this announcement for ASM 26 intent of book and sidelines all the major characters of this comic: Peter, MJ, Paul, Felicia, why Marvel?
We'll get there.
Well, I think they wanted to get headlines for Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
We might be talking about that in the stream in a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe.
As my therapist
My
says,
big why is why say that I was going to be mad when you knew I was going to think it was funny? And everybody was going to be like, whatever.
Because they really, 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 really think that anybody actually gives a fuck about Kamala.
No, I think they knew. I think they pulled a bait. I think they knew what they were doing for the most part. The doc says, get better, Skip. You got this, brother. Absolutely. He's already handling it like a champ. Let me tell you that. Been talking to him. Having his spirits are very high, and he's doing a great job. So we're definitely with you to the end here, brother. We're going to get through this. We're going to talk about some more comic books when it's all said and done. Caleb says, last week I was supposed to say a wise man once said, once a hoe, always a hoe. Name is T. Franklin.
That's not nice.
Well, I think T. Franklin is the wise man, right?
You'd be. I don't disagree with this statement.
Yeah,
I mean,
sigh.
she's a hooker.
Well, no, I don't. That's not the statement. The statement is once a hoe, always a hoe, and I agree with that.
Yes.
From the mountains, apparently T. Franklin is the wise man. That's why I'm reading it. Goblin says it makes more sense for Anya Karazhan team up with the Strange Academy because Anya's powers are magic. It would make more sense to use Frost Pharaoh too. There's a lot of things that would make more sense. Drew,
Like having Scotty Young and Humberto Ramos on the book first.
continue the book. Yeah, that would make the most sense. Were you reading Strange Academy there, Gabe?
A little bit of it. I read the what was it? The what came out a few months ago was the graduation special where the minions from the Dark Dimension all came through and they interrupted, and that was okay. I kind of enjoyed it. It was fun. It wasn't great, but it was okay. I think where I like what Strange Academy does right that Gotham Academy did very, very wrong. Which is they spent time with the teachers. They spent time with the students doing things in classrooms and trying things out and dealing with all that sort of teenage high school level angst because that's what people want to see. They want to see Harry Potter. Strange Academy is supposed to be basically riffing on Harry Potter, right? I mean, that's my interpretation of it. It's Hogwarts. So if you can capture that same vibe, the same spirit when it looked like it was doing that, then I think you're in the right place. Gotham Academy didn't do that. They spent too much time out in the field doing stuff and
Teen Titans Academy didn't either.
Or Teen Titans Academy and inventing 3 clones of Red X and trying to make that a big mystery when nobody cared. And it was like, time, whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Card will be happy because he's been wanting a Harry Potter comic book for like 10 years.
there's nothing stopping him from doing it, other
Well, he
than
doesn't own
money
the
and
rights to Harry
contracts
Potter.
and lawyers.
It's definitely somebody else's character, but you basically
yeah.
get a Harry Potter character or Harry Potter comic in Space Academy. Absolutely fantastic. General Ballsack says, should we post on social media our support of Skip? Absolutely.
Sure.
You should definitely be adding him on Instagram, on Twitter. If you're in a Discord server with him, let him know that you're supporting him if he needs anything.
Hey,
He definitely would appreciate it.
My big question for this is Skip taken care of? Like, I mean, is there anything we can do beyond well wishes?
Well, you're gonna have to talk to him about that.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was anything you.
I don't know if he needs something to read or if he could, use a consultation from the doctor himself. I'm not sure.
Okay.
He never asked me for that.
No. I get that. I just wasn't sure if
Oh, you talking about like medical bills or something?
Yeah.
Does he have a GoFundMe or something like that?
Yeah.
No. To my knowledge, it's all good.
Okay.
But I will reach out to him and make sure that everything's fine. But
If you find anything out on anything like that, then don't hesitate to ask all of us.
absolutely, we'll do something up if we need to. We're going to take care of our guy, part of the family.
Fuck yeah.
Daniel Beatty, dear Marvel, hire new editors. Done blaming the writers. Absolutely, that's really where the big problem lies. You know what the biggest problem though? It's critics like Gabe.
Agreed.
If it wasn't for you, the editors would be doing a good job.
Thanks, Gabe.
This is true.
Other than the Predator comic book,
Yeah,
you're too
thanks,
harsh.
Gabe.
Oh, I knew you were looking for an excuse to bring that one every single time. Every time. So the question becomes who's more at fault? Is it the writers or the editors? And I think we will have an interesting discussion about that with the ASM controversy this week. So that'll be coming up.
Absolutely. Callum says all those tweets Franklin put out, she might as well go back under a bridge. And I think personally, she doesn't have autism. I could be wrong, but I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose anybody. But I did a video talking about the tweets, and then I believe she blocked me. I think.
Me too.
Somehow I don't think I got blocked, which was really weird.
Yeah, huh? That was funny.
How's anybody not blocking me?
Oh shit.
Well, how's it?
I mean, I find you
50-year-old
entertaining.
person treating people like that. Like, what do you think? You weren't going to get called out? Stop being an asshole. Right? That's common sense, right?
It is in a world where someone also doesn't get to scream racism to get a job.
Man, I think something's going on with Gabe.
I am checking my T. Franklin accessibility options, and no, I am not blocked by T. Franklin.
I'm not either.
Well, hopefully she's not talking about the videos anymore.
I'm
Hopefully
jealous.
she's moving on to something else.
I don't know.
Carrie Nerdy Girl creates. What's up?
I was gonna say the next morning I woke up and she was still going. I ended up texting Drew and them, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's still happening."
Yep, still not blocked.
Some people don't like being called on their bullshit.
She is one of the most inwardly disgusting, empty people I've ever seen converse.
She feels pretty outwardly disgusting and hostile to me.
That too. Yeah, but I was going to go inwardly. There's nothing there. She is devoid of any morality.
If rot was a person, that's what it would be. Just rot.
Carrie Nerdy Girl Create says, as a woman, I denounced the Dove ad. What the hell is the Dove ad?
I haven't seen this either. I know.
So Dove partnered with Unreal Engine to sort of denounce, having sort of buff, shapely female templates inside video games.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they did is they contract with Unreal to basically create a video game avatar that is in one of their games that looks like an average woman who is significantly overweight. And
How is that going to sell soap?
it has nothing to do with soap. That's the big problem.
So producers like large people, like tattoo artists love large people.
And they created
More
this
area.
big
If I'm
cutscene
in
animatic.
charge of Dove and my marketing team comes to me with that, and I go, how is this selling soap? That's the first question because
This
that's
is-
actually the
question.
job.
This is literally that stone toss meme with how will this sell us more burgers? Burgers?
Yeah.
Like the boardroom one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is that stone toss meme, except for Dove.
Oh, there you go. Whatever, man. Have fun trying to change a video game, kids. They're definitely going to respond to that one. Gallup says, "Oh no, not Kamala, not Son, not self-insert to get a pic with Obama, and probably lies about being a Muslim to get ahead." I don't think that Son would lie about that. There's no reason to lie about your faith, just to do all that stuff. But hey, a lot of people were very upset. I believe that Callum is being sarcastic here, but there were some people. I don't think they're comic book readers that were very upset with what happened.
Keyboard
Because
warrior.
actually, before we get to that, we do have to talk about this. We got some business here. If you've seen the little scroller on the video in the picture below, this video is actually sponsored. And I do want to send a special thanks to the sponsor of today's live stream, Frank Zanka and Destiny Horizons Destiny Aurora Kickstarter campaign. Destiny Aurora follows the crew of a coalition spacecraft as they attempt to track down criminals and thwart those looking to usurp the order to their own benefit. Follow Jace, Ravada, Flibby, X, and Rolf on adventures that will take them to the dangerous corners of the galaxy, where they will be forced to fight and outwit their opponents. Now available as an audiobook on Kickstarter. You can also purchase autographed copies of the original graphic novel and 4 original novels as well. For overseas supporters and digital enthusiasts, there are multiple digital bundles. Comic book fans can also purchase copies of Frank Zanka's Lords of LA graphic novel that Gabe Hernandez recently reviewed and scored an 8 out of 10. There's a link to the Destiny Aurora audiobook Kickstarter and Gabe's review of Lords of LA in the video description. Now let's check out the trailer of Destiny Aurora and this Kickstarter campaign.
The wildly successful Destiny Aurora universe. The release of the audiobook version marks the newest addition to the franchise. Follow the thrilling adventures of the starship Destiny Aurora and its crew as they hunt for the alien assassin who murdered Jace Carver's wife. Their epic confrontation will change Jace's life forever and keep readers guessing till the end. Go to the link below and listen to the first chapter absolutely free.
Absolutely. So if you go and hit the link in the video description and you want to test out the audiobook, you can get the first chapter for free as well. Definitely support that. Support people that are supporting the channel, sponsoring videos. I really appreciate that one. Now, Gabe, as I mentioned, you recently reviewed Lords of LA. Yep. Frank Zanka is an award-winning screenwriter. Yep. He's done a lot of work on movies and television, stuff like that. But he's also got a couple of graphic novels. Lords of LA is a bit more of it's kind of like a 1950s noir mob book, but with vampires.
Right. So let's see. It's been a few weeks, and my brain can only retain so much. But I do remember this one. And that's a good sign. If I can remember a comic that came out, a while back, that's a really good sign, actually. So it's basically set in, if I remember correctly, it's set in 2 time periods. One period is in the 1950s, 40s, 50s, kind of in that very hip mid-century mobster era, and then you have 3 mob families vying against each other for territory and attention, and somebody is playing both ends against the middle. The difference is these mob families are all led by different clans of vampires. So it's a unique twist on the old mobster story, and it has a lot of great points. Very interesting, and I think there's if you're fans of something like Vampire the Masquerade, that's going to hit right in your sweet spot. You're going to like that one a lot if you're kind of into that vampire drama genre.
Absolutely. So definitely support that. Like I said, there's a link in the video description. Josh, you seem like a guy that likes audiobooks. Am I correct?
I prefer books, but sure, I'll
really?
listen to an audiobook.
I love.
Man, I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. I've been listening to the Sherlock Holmes. Recently, I listened to the very first book of Last Kingdom. I liked a lot of audio dramas as well. So me personally, I like you throw the headphones on, maybe play some video games and listen to your audiobook rather than the stupid audio from the video game. That's what I do.
All right, because who likes reading? Reading's for the birds, right?
You don't need to read if you have someone read it to you.
Well, I'm reading the Witcher.
Nana?
I'm reading the Witcher books on audiobook on audible.com, and they're really fun, man.
You're not reading them, you're listening to them.
Well, I'm having a read to me story time.
Who reads
will
it? Is it
say,
Henry Cavill reading that one?
No, but it's a pretty good voice actor, and it's just like I wonder when they're coming after the voice actors next. Like you're not of the certain you're not a.
They've already done that.
Really?
That's why the one dude can't do Apu anymore.
Oh, that's right. Oh, gee, that's right.
Yeah.
Hank
They've
Azaria.
already done that kind of stuff, but awesome stuff. Really big time thanks to Frank for supporting the channel. And definitely go support that campaign. Eddie Brock 9043 says thoughts on Al Ewing's Venom run. Very good in my opinion. So I started out reading this, and it's not really Al Ewing's Venom run. It's Al Ewing and Ram V's Venom run. And I found one of the stories intriguing and engaging, and I found the other one really, really boring. And I just had to stop reading it because half the book sucked.
Yeah.
That was my interpretation of Venom. What do you think about it?
Guess who wrote which half?
Well, Al Ewing is doing the Eddie Brock becomes a god, right? And Ram V does the Dylan Brock becoming Venom story, right?
Maybe. They share duties, so it's not like they sit there and say, "Well, I wrote this one and that, or I wrote that one." But I have, you can get a pretty firm idea of who wrote what.
Yeah, and it was just really uneven. It was hard for me to stick around for it, especially coming off the Donny Cates run, which I thought was pretty exciting.
Yeah. I will say, I think Wes, you'll agree with me. This Eddie Brock, he needs to be checking out the Venom Lethal Protector 2 by David Michelini, and I forget what the artist's name is, Fran Azam, I think. Yeah,
or the latest issue of Moon Knight also has Venom in it.
Yeah, that too.
And it's illustrated by who was that? Alessandro Capuccio. It looks absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen that one, it'll blow your mind. So those are our thoughts on that one, Eddie Brock. I'm sorry if we disappointed you. Callum says on a vampire subject, and I say this out of love, I don't want Blade to be in the MCU, especially by Rick and Morty trash to promote BLM propaganda.
Well, the vampires are going to be Nazi vampires. That's I already know right going into this film. It's going to be Nazi vampires.
Ooh.
What were you saying, Josh?
I was going to say one of the Rick and Morty writers has been fired, so he's not there anymore. So thank God.
The Jeff Loveless guy?
Jeff Loveness. He's gone, so he's off. Hopefully,
I'm reviewing Quantumania on Monday.
God, it's terrible, man.
I'm making him watch it because I'm an asshole. The worst part is I'm making myself watch it, so I'm an even bigger asshole. Why would I do this to myself?
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
Apparently, they're thinking of making Blade rated R now. So, fingers crossed.
That would be wise.
It would be very wise.
Should be like it used to be.
Man, Blade 2 is amazing. Blade 1's amazing. Blade Trinity is awful, but
just
Ryan Reynolds is so funny nice in that one.
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds is hilarious in Blade. He's
the only good thing about that entire movie.
Except
maybe Triple H trying to act was pretty.
I was about to say, what about Triple H trying to act, man? Come on now.
Yeah.
Drama behind the scenes is more interesting than the movie itself. Them trying to make the film. That's what's interesting.
I liked what's his face that did. What was it? Is it not Dominic Purcell? Was it Dominic Purcell that did Dracula? Who's the guy who played Dracula?
Oh, from Prison Break. Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie Brock also says that's fair. What are your thoughts on Ramby's Carnage series? This is what happened. I read his portion of Venom, and I said, I'm not going to read Carnage either because I didn't like what he was doing.
It's not worth, in my opinion, honest opinion, it's not worth it because it's Carnage, all right? He's a killer, and the symbiote is a killer, and you have a kid with the symbiote. They're not killing. It's like, what the hell is the point here? I don't understand. You just have a kidified version of Venom here. There's no point to this damn comic.
Carnage symbiote is going to learn to get his humanity back.
Fuck that. I'm not reading Carnage for that. No.
Are you yelling at me?
No, I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at this damn comic.
Yes, he is.
Con.
This is what happens when he can't do his Monday stream. It all gets pinned up, and then he just starts yelling at Wes.
On me.
I know.
You know who's doing Carnage better right now, and it surprises me to even say this.
Woody Harrelson?
No, Steve Orlando. Steve Orlando is writing Carnage in Spider-Man 2099 right now. It's not a great comic, but at least he's getting Carnage sort of right. So if you want to see just a monster that's just ripping through everything in his path, that's where you're going to find a Carnage like that.
I'll be honest. I read Ram V's Swamp Thing on repeat before I check out a Steve Orlando Marvel comic these days.
Oh, come on. Shh. Drew's on the stream. Don't say that out
I
loud.
heard that.
Sorry.
I heard
Yeah,
that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you like the swap thing a little bit more than I did. Oh, man. Common sense. So is Zeb Wells' Carnage better then?
He's doing Carnage?
I believe he did a Carnage.
Yeah, way back. I don't even remember that run. It's a long time. Maybe.
A long time.
Probably. But I haven't read the Ram V card, so I don't know. There's some good card stuff out there. What was the one where he took over the town and you had Clayton Crane?
Oh, Carnage USA?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. That was a lot of fun. I don't think Zeb Wells wrote that one, though. No.
Every-
All right, we could be more helpful on that one. Is he trying to turn us off using the remote?
Oh,
Maybe.
nope.
Let's get to our first topic.
Yes.
ASM 26 spoiler. The pages got out there. The emails started coming in. I got DMs. I had to talk about it. And then Marvel confirmed it. And they had articles on EW and everywhere. They were soaking in all the news coverage, I guess, that they're killing Kamala Khan. They're not actually doing anything to piss anybody off. And then we got Silent Sister #1. The death of Kamala Khan is coming. So they're going to do a little cash grab on this one. Doc, you and I were expecting MJ to die, or maybe they would kill off Peter Parker, or maybe he would kill somebody and be framed with it, something that people would actually hate. No one really hated this except for like 8 people. Is Doc gone?
I'm one of
I think
those
he
8
stepped
people. I
away.
love it.
She's Doc and his stupid smoke breaks. We didn't even get to the first subject. He's already out there choking down a heater. Jeez. Gabe, I'll throw that one to you. Nobody seems upset about this one. It's a big cash grab so they can make the character a mutant when they resurrect her on Krakoa.
Oh no. There are definitely people upset about this, but they're the wrong people upset for the wrong reason. But there are definitely people upset about it.
No comic readers, especially not Spider-Man readers. Like,
Well,
oh,
I didn't
you
say
didn't kill
that.
Spider-Man?
I didn't say any spider readers were upset by this, but okay. So here we go. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's do it. Let's get this done.
You're up, buddy.
All right, here we go. So why? The question is why? So Zeb Wells came on to Amazing Spider-Man back in issue #1, which is a little bit over a year ago at this point. With the What Did Peter Do? Big Bang explosion in York, PA, a 6-month disappearance, and everybody's mad at him and nobody knows why. Fast forward a year later to issue 2021, somewhere in there, is where they finally get back to that mystery, which is exactly the wrong way to build a mystery over an extended period of time, because nobody dropped any clues or crumbs or anything else related to why this big event happened. So they finally get to the point, okay, we're going to answer your questions. We're finally going to tell you what happened. And so they get into the whole thing with Raven, which was a 3-page villain that showed up in a Zeb Wells run in 2014, somewhere in there about, no, not 2014, 2009, I think it was. It's about a 14-15 year difference. I can't count right now. I'm just too upset about this. So it's crazy. So it's Raven. He's trying to become the emissary of Wyap. They get pulled into the ultimate dimension because Nick Lowe can't do his editing job properly. There's all kinds of art mistakes, so they send the wrong Mary Jane back, and he doesn't care, so they just keep going with it. And so what they find out is that Peter didn't do anything because Mary Jane pushed him through the portal that sent him down to York, PA, with this big ball of energy from Wyap that created the crater. So essentially Peter didn't do anything, but we find out time moves differently, so he's running around and he's trying to get back to Mary Jane because he figures out time moves differently, and that every second he loses here could be days or weeks there. Eventually he gets back, and what does he find out? That Mary Jane hooked up with with Paul, who is that guy with the glasses.
Sean King.
And their kids are really not their kids. They're just kids they found in that alternate Earth. So they sort of adopt them and have been living with them for 4 years. They get back. And so that's all kind of spelled out, and that's here we are. And it looks like I'm the only one left in the stream, but that's okay because I'll keep going. And then what happens? 2.5, actually it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks before the issue is supposed to come out, where this big shocking moment is going to rock Spider-Man's world. The biggest moment, according to Marvel, the biggest moment in Spider-Man history since Gwen Stacy's death, which was 40 some odd years at this point,
1950 almost.
almost 50.
Yep.
And what did they say? Ms. Marvel. And everybody went, who cares? At least Spider-Man fans, they went, who cares?
Mhm.
And so the question is, why? Well, let's take a look at the facts. Zeb Wells is a comic writer, but is mostly known for being a television and Hollywood writer. So he's really into scripts. He's really into producing. He really wants to be a Hollywood guy. I'm supposing based upon outward evidence. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know his thoughts, but this is what I'm guessing. Zeb Wells is also the executive producer of She-Hulk. So he's very much entrenched in that Marvel streaming TV service production kind of ecosystem. And he is also listed as, I believe, a producer and or writer on the forthcoming Marvels movie, which comes out in September.
Correct.
September, October. So
It's November.
It's delayed again.
Or November. It's later this year. I'm sorry. I don't have
Until
the
it
date in
gets
front of me.
delayed 3 more times.
It's been delayed, but it's coming out there, which from the teaser trailer and from the content of the information that's been produced looks like essentially a sequel to the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus show. That's building directly on that. That's what they showed in the trailer. Could be wrong, could be a bait and switch or red herring, but it looks like the Marvels is basically going to do the same thing that Doctor Strange in the Mouth of Madness, or Doctor Strange 2, if you prefer, did, which is essentially it was a sequel to WandaVision. So they're doing that same thing there. And it's Zeb Wells is going to be the writer, producer on that show. So here we have a Hollywood guy that really wants to be in Hollywood, but he's really doing comics. And so they put him on a comic run that has nothing to do with his Hollywood projects. And he says, oh, okay, let me do something inside my comic run that's going to help me enhance or push or otherwise amplify what I'm doing in my Hollywood work. So if I had to put all those pieces together, and I know it's a theory, I don't have any proof, don't ding me for not having evidence, is what I'm thinking is Zeb Wells got the job on ASM because he has prior Spider-Man experience. And he said, Nick Lowe, we have this Marvel's things coming up, which I'm on tap for. Can I do something shocking in Spider-Man that's going to get people buzzing about Kamala Khan to help build up, to help change her character because she's an immortal. Now they probably want to change her to a mutant. They want to change her powers because stretchy hands are stupid for a teenage girl and nobody wants that. And they want it to match the TV show. So they want synergy between the comics and the films, or the MCU, if you prefer. And so what they're going to do is they're going to resurrect her as a mutant. They're going to resurrect her with powers that are that sort of weird crystal construct thing instead of stupid stretchy hands. And they're using the ASM comic to springboard her off into that new series. So what they're going to do, so this whole build up for this last year wasn't to make Spider-Man great. When Nick Spencer was leading him up to that path where Peter and MJ were going to get together, it was just basically a plot device, a deus ex machina, to use Spider-Man as an opportunity to elevate Ms. Marvel, because Zeb Wells is on the Marvels, which is going to be a sequel to the Ms. Marvel Disney Plus show. Thank you very much.
Sure. Yes. Way to go.
That's a pretty big theory.
Yeah.
Can you run that one back? I was out for part
Yeah.
of it.
So what you're really
See,
saying,
if you subscribe to the Comical Opinions newsletter, I'm going to have an op-ed on Monday that's going to address this topic. So there you go.
Or
they're all incompetent, you know. No.
Yes, that you ascribe far more logic to it than any of these people have in their head that they are even remotely capable of. No, look, it's idiots writing bad stuff and idiot editorial not preventing bad stuff from being written, and they're out of fucking ideas. So
you're not with the Kamala Khan death thing, Doc? I thought you would be championing this.
Yes, it doesn't matter. That's the point. It's
a calling of the herd. We're finally getting rid of one of those stupid characters no one likes.
Okay, so they get rid of one just to bring her back, and we all know they're just going to resurrect her as a mutant to have some degree of, I guess, supposed synergy with the TV show and movies, because suddenly she's a mutant there.
Doc, this is the best case scenario, though. what if, to get us to forget about Peter Parker and MJ not being back together, all of a sudden he becomes Peter Parker the Terminator and just goes throughout the Marvel 616 and wastes away all the characters that don't need to be there?
Well,
I would buy that series.
Yes, I mean, I would buy that too, except for, that they're just going to resurrect them so he can kill them again. They never run out of them. They keep creating new cannon fodder for Peter Parker Spider Terminator to slaughter, and then they bring back the other ones because apparently he didn't finish the job, and they're all like goddamn Jason Voorhees, and they just keep coming back from the dead. No, look, as much as I'd like to say great, we all know that it's not lasting. It's not meaningful. I mean, her fucking comic isn't even going to stop being in print.
Well, she doesn't have a comic.
Okay, they're gonna launch another.
Well, absolutely.
I mean, granted,
they already killed her, Doc. She already came back, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing. We've seen this before with Marvel anti-synergy. When the Avengers came out, what did they do? They replaced all the Avengers with, Dollar Tree knockoff versions. When Doctor Strange 2 came out, they created synergy by having Doctor Strange dead in the comics and having the Doctor Strange book being led by Clea. When No Way Home came out, they did it by having Peter in a coma and Ben Reilly running around as Spider-Man. So they've done the wonderful anti-synergy, but we've never seen them do it with strong, diverse character TM, and how they do anti-synergy there. So they're going to kill her, bring her back as somehow more important because they need to have
a new costume, a new power set. She'll be an angry feminist coming back from college at first year.
Wes, I hate to break your theory bubble, but also at the end of Axe Judgment Day, which was that sort of really mediocre mini series event left from last year from Kieran Gillen, they established that the Krakoan resurrection protocols isn't just for mutants anymore. They extend that to all humans. So anybody who gets killed can come back.
Yeah.
So
I just think it'd be great to give Peter Parker a real purpose to just go and waste out all these characters.
Well, then his first job would be to slaughter the 5.
Well, you should take out the 5 and then go for Miles, maybe.
Yeah,
take it personally. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Bitch, get off my jock.
Send him back to the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're gonna, or he just collects up all, like kind of like Teen Cable in Extermination. He just collects
that was
them
amazing.
all up. He collects all of the Dollar Tree knockoff characters that just have infected the Marvel universe like goddamn cockroaches in the last decade or so, and he puts them all into suspended animation. Wait until that Ultimate Invasion comic that comes out this summer, and then he shoves them all into the Ultimate Universe, and then that becomes the quarantine zone.
Man, remember when he cut off Angel's wings? That was rough in that comic. That was good.
Yeah. So Kate Bishop goes there, Falcon Cap. It'll be like, well, Sam
Falcon.
No.
Get rid of the other Falcon.
We get rid of the other Falcon, and then we tell Sam Wilson, look, you have a choice. You can either never put this stupid costume on again that makes you look fucking retarded and that you don't have the power set to use, or we'll shuttle you off to the quarantine zone as well.
I knew Doc was going to have some thoughts. What do you think, Drew?
Just in general about this whole thing.
Oh yeah, what do you? Got something to say?
It's a joke. I mean, here in the store, everyone thinks it's a joke. I mean, no one cared. If they're coming to me asking, "Is this a big deal?" Like, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't care. And I mean, Sean stormed.
Not a big deal in the Spider-Man book. Why would it?
Sean stormed into the office when this news broke. He's like, "Where's Ace 26 at? Where are the copies at? Where are the books at?" And we're like, "It's not even out yet, Sean." And he thought the comic was already out. I'm like, dude, it's not out for 2 weeks. And it shows he doesn't do any of the ordering anymore. But I couldn't care. I'm just waiting to see all the variant covers that are going to happen for this, like afterwards, like the Superman 75 homage covers, probably with her hijab hanging from a stick, middle of the street. J. Scott Campbell, Peach Momoko, they're going to capitalize off of this at conventions and everything else.
They should do the EVS Green Lantern cover where she's like hanging by her bracelet.
I don't think I've seen. I don't recall
Sinister
that.
Cold War, the very first issue. They're all hanging by their being
That's right. Yeah, I was thinking like pikes going through their chest or whatever too. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, they're gonna make money off those. But honestly, no one here at our shop gives two shits about this. I couldn't care less. And
people didn't storm into their comic book shop to buy new issues of Kamala Khan since she's gonna die.
No one cared.
So it drove conversation, but no sales.
Yeah, both. Just like.
But did it even drive conversation? It was like you had a handful of people on the internet that were all hopping mad about it, and then everyone that was an actual like comic reader and fan, especially Spider-Man fan, they just went, oh, that's what you're doing. Okay, thanks, bye.
Perfect.
But
Kamala's a good substitute.
I'll extend Wells and Lowe a little bit of grace in saying the issue hasn't come out yet.
Mm-hmm.
We're focusing on the death. What we don't know are the circumstances around that death.
Right.
So something. So when they say the biggest shocking thing ever since sliced bread, the death might not be it. The death might be a side effect of whatever happens, but there could be something else that's going on. So I'm willing to be open enough to say, hey, surprise me.
Yeah, what if she's
doubtful.
a Skrull?
Peter shoots her in the head.
I would say so. Peter kills.
If Peter kills her, okay, now we've got something to talk about. But
that's what I think would be
the death in and of itself is no big deal.
The problem
or
with that
maybe
is,
it's Mary Jane.
if you read the future solicitations coming out at past 26, there's no mention of any of this. There's no repercussions, nothing. It's just Peter just moves on with his life. There's no talk about
That's in Secret Sister, the death of Kamala Khan. That's where the
Fallen
repercussions are. Is this supposed to be like the death of Captain Marvel? Where everyone shows up and they recount his life and all that stuff?
How impactful she was in all their lives and how she changed all their lives. Yeah.
Here's the deal. If Peter kills her intentionally, if Peter kills her accidentally, maybe I'll read it. If Peter kills her intentionally, I'll buy 2 copies.
Yeah, frame one.
Yes. Like if he just like walks up and like double taps her in the back of the skull, I'd be like, yep, I'm buying 2 copies of this one. And then every time they kill a Dollar Tree knockoff character, it's like Peter or somebody walking up, double tapping him in the back of the head. I'd be like, yep, I'm buying that one too.
But I mean, it could be one of those scenarios where Peter has to make a choice between Kamala's life and something else, like save the world or save Kamala, and then he makes that choice and she dies. That could be one scenario. I also fully expect, and if you're looking for people to get mad, I fully expect that whatever is going to end this big conflict with Rabin as the new emissary or the replacement for Wyep, that Kamala Khan is going to die because she makes the big hero sacrifice.
Yeah.
So if that
what if Peter has to choose between Kamala and Jeff the Shark?
Oh,
and he makes the right choice and he saves Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
But isn't Peter? I mean, hasn't Peter made a series of selfish choices to get MJ back into the real world? Didn't he just burn some bridges with the Fantastic Four?
I didn't buy any of that stuff.
I don't buy it.
I don't know if I'd call it selfish. I mean, she's trapped in an alien or like an alternate Earth with a very dangerous guy. I don't know if I would call that selfish.
Oh, I see the Parker luck. You did all of this stuff to get MJ back, and at the end of it, she's moved on. She's older, and you got Kamala killed. I mean, no wonder why everyone's mad at you.
Well,
that would be interesting.
Look, I mean, honestly, nobody's mad at Peter for this. Even, I mean, seriously, it could be a choice between Kamala Khan and a like tuna sandwich, and I'd still pick the tuna sandwich. Kill Kamala, don't eat lunch. I mean, all right, Kamala's dead.
Listen,
I mean, it doesn't
more personality.
Yes, look, I mean, it could be like, hey, this random pebble. I will throw it away if you don't kill Kamala Khan. All right, cool. I'm killing Kamala Khan. I mean, it literally could be anything. And everybody's gonna be like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm on board with Peter doing that.
We've got opposing glasses of water. We've got the glasses half full and Eric, and the glasses half empty. And
I see an opportunity here. I mean, like, look at Miles. Like, hey, look, if Peter gets Kamala killed, why would Miles want to share a code name with the guy who got one of his best friends killed? I mean, wouldn't it be a great opportunity to have Miles finally strike out on his own and get his own code name and his own costume? And then Peter can be like, kind of like, who would want to be Spider-Man right now? Because he got at a young age.
Spider-Boy changes his name the second time you see him. You're like, fuck that guy. Oh, perfect. What do you think's going on here, Josh? Obviously, you're more of the Hollywood guy, but was this really shocking to you?
I mean,
I was surprised.
Shocking, but not
Kamala
for,
Khan,
yeah.
She's not in the comic book.
I mean that, but I also thought it was. I mean, look, I'm about to make it sound like these people know what they're doing, but at first I was like, why are they doing this right before film comes out? But it's Marvel's history of doing this, so who knows? But yeah, no, I thought it was shocking, mainly for the timing of we're killing an Asian character during Asian Awareness Month. And I was like, okay, people are gonna get pissed, but I don't. I kind of want to challenge Doc.
What does anyone do for Asian American?
You'd always pick
Pacific
Kamala.
Islander Heritage Month. Does anyone do anything?
I don't know. I just knew that Twitter was going to blow up because the character's dying anyways. But the fact that it happened during this month was only going to make Twitter go even harder. So I was like, y'all are morons. Y'all are idiots. But no, I kind of want to challenge
pretty
Doc.
Smart because
He's
got
like,
more
you'll always pick. Possibly.
But headlines without engagement.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Sorry.
I do want to challenge Doc though, because he's like, I'll always pick Kamala to get killed. But what if it's wheelchair Spidey and Kamala Khan, and you have to pick one of the two?
Oh, you know what?
Oh, man.
I think I'd pick wheelchair Spidey. Oh fuck! You got a point there.
Yes.
Well, see, here's no. Hold on. I still think I would pick Kamala Khan because nobody would ever, even Marvel isn't retarded enough to think that they could try to force wheelchair Spidey onto us, and like anyone would even buy one issue. like they've convinced themselves, they really have deluded themselves because Kamala Khan sold 6 issues one time, and one trade paperback, that she's a marketable character. And that she has a future. Nobody there is dumb enough to actually believe that cripple Spider-Man has any chance of even selling a one shot, much less 6 issues.
I will say, just being serious though, I do think Gabe's right. I do think this is Zeb Wells trying to lean into his TV and film work. And what I think is going to be funny is I do think they're going to try to use this opportunity to set Kamala up as a mutant when they resurrect her. Because let's be honest, I know they set it up that Krakoa can resurrect people that aren't mutants anymore, but that's also saying that Marvel remembers what they're doing, and I think we've seen that they're not capable of doing that. They've probably forgotten that they initiated that story that anyone can be resurrected. So they're going to come make this big to-do. She's resurrected. Oh, that means she's a mutant. They're going to give her these kind of like crystal light powers like she has in the TV show and say that's her mutant ability, not realizing that's not her mutant ability in the TV show. That's her Jinn ancestry in the TV show, along with the bangles she's wearing, which are apparently tied to the 10 rings. I'm just like, I just want to watch the shit show unfold.
Josh, the other thing I would slightly challenge you on is I agree that it's bad timing to kill off Kamala during AAPI month, but at the same time, that would presume that the people at Marvel understand that a Pakistani girl is Asian.
Well, that's true.
I don't think
they probably don't. They're probably like, isn't that Middle Eastern? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she's brown. She's not Asian. I've never seen her with chopsticks.
Yeah, you got a bunch of like,
my wife's Asian, she's brown and doesn't use chopsticks.
Yeah, you got a bunch of like serious.
Marvel at this point would surprise me with that reaction.
Why are her eyes round? Like that, she can't be Asian. Like, what the fuck?
Why hasn't Alyssa Wong said anything? I'm quite shocked by that
Sure
too.
she did.
Because
Well,
Alyssa
she's
Wong's
hired
going to
by
be
now.
writing her when she gets resurrected. Come on,
Probably.
that's the obvious answer.
Good chance.
Where's Alyssa Wong? Where's Amy Chu? Where's Jean Liu Yang? Where are all these
Akira
very
Yashida?
vocal?
Where's Akira Yashida?
Where? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to hear from Akira Yashida. That one I don't want to hear from.
Where's Asian Greg Pak? Because that's all he does now.
Yeah.
He wrote one thing that was good, and then everything else since then's been I'm Asian Greg Pak.
He is Asian, so pretty interesting stuff. Are we excited? What do you think the sales are going to be on Fallen Sister, the Death of Captain
Fallen Arches.
14.
Ms. Marvel?
Sister on the Fallen Sister issue.
Fallen Arches.
I'm
Okay.
not talking to Drew. He's a comic book pro.
I will say there will probably be multiple printings of this. It'll probably go to a third or fourth printing, regardless. And there will be.
Were you upset with the cover that there was no one associated with Ms. Marvel other than Captain Marvel on the cover? There's Spidey, there's a Fantastic Four, there's Captain America. There's no Miles Morales. There's nobody that actually cares about the character.
Because those are the important characters to the legacy readers
They
of
want to sell it.
those that exactly want to sell. They're like, oh, I know him. That's a thing. I know a thing. It's
that issue's going to be great when Captain America is like, I remember when I asked her for her autograph and she signed it. I was so happy that day.
there's gonna be small anecdotal stories like that in that damn book. All these small, less than impactful stories in the book. It's like, who really? This is where we're going. This is how
She never really had those moments like Marvel did.
No,
where he like saved the entire galaxy.
There is so much time, effort, and money being spent on this to make her something when she is nothing is shocking.
You're right. I mean, literally every part of that is you're right. This is, I swear to God, it's like they're trying to just gaslight people into believing that no, it's actually an important character that's dying and everybody loves her. And bitch, you can keep lying to yourself all day. You can't, you're not going to convince us. Like it's seriously, their marketing is essentially nothing but gaslighting at this point. Make up shit that doesn't happen and try to, and then sell on the made up shit that didn't happen. I mean, they're going to come out with 14 variants. You'll get one store that orders all of them, a bunch of stores that order, I don't know, 5 shelf copies, maybe 2. It's probably going to be pre-order it or else we're not going to buy it. That's what this book's going to be.
Let's see what the people had to.
I was I'm going to be a fence sitter a little bit on this one. I think Kamala Khan is an okay character. I think she's got a lot of potential. What she lacks is a defining moment.
Yes.
There is nothing in Kamala Khan's character history or in her canonical background that says, oh, Kamala Khan, she had that one awesome thing. Now Spider-Man, it's the death of Uncle Ben. It's everything related to,
Gwen Stacy, the moment that he was trapped underneath all that.
You've got all these moments that inform the development of that character and his progression and evolution over decades. Although you can say that's stalled a lot in the last 1 or 2 decades, but there are points. The Fantastic Four is on that cover. They have these defining moments with Galactus and the Silver Surfer and all these things that are going on. There is no defining moment for Kamala Khan. Because her run started off well, and people seemed to like where she went, where it was going, and then you ran into all of a sudden brown shirt gulag master Kamala Khan, and then it just went downhill from there. They have yet to establish her character as being important to Marvel
because
within that universe,
dude. It's because they won't allow her to struggle. She's never going to have that moment.
Right?
It's impossible.
But exactly to that point is because she has no big moment, no instant or memory that codifies her as being important to the Marvel universe within the context of story and interconnectedness and everything else. Is her absence, taking her away, is meaningless. It doesn't matter because she never really had that big of an impact to begin with, other than she existed, and that's not.
Yeah, she doesn't really warrant the Captain Marvel treatment in the death of Captain Marvel. where you can have all these characters be like, oh my goodness, he saved my life. He changed the course of my life and the interactions that we had. She's never really warranted that. So it's just...
Well, maybe this
whatever.
is her moment where she saves the world and saves Peter and saves the day. And if Peter is on the hook for her dying, that's going to be a Gwen Stacy level of guilt he hasn't had in decades. I find that to be really fascinating for Peter. I hope that plays out like that. I like a guilt-ridden Peter Parker.
I mean, you're not wrong, but at the same time, he's already got enough guilt. He doesn't need more.
But
He needs to do something.
for that to happen, I think it would have been more impactful if that was if Miles were to die and that was Miles that made that sacrificial play. That would have been more impactful.
Or if it happened to Miles Morales, Spider-Man, since they're actually friends.
Yeah.
Or here's the thing. The only time that somebody making a sacrifice or someone's loss actually matters to Peter is if the character matters and Kamala doesn't.
Not to him.
She doesn't matter to anyone.
Okay, Doc, we get what you say. Let's hear what the people have to say. Comics says Zeb Wells did write Carnage USA. So there you go. Zeb Wells' Carnage is absolutely better than Raimi's Carnage.
It's also better than his current Spider-Man run as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. No doubt. Lade Kramer. On a stream Wednesday, I had a 7-minute rant on this. They charged $12 for ASM 25 and 26 to help sell a $5 comic that less than 10,000 people will buy and spoiled it.
Now I think resellers are going to buy up this book. A lot of can buy this up.
There's a lot of comic channels that will be like, "Oh, this is a must buy."
Yes.
So people can end up holding the bag on that one and spend twice as much as they should on it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Don't be caught holding the bag on this one. Seriously.
I don't know. ASM 25 sold out in my local comic book shop. I got there at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. They opened at 11 and it was already gone. Not like I was going to get it. I just noticed it was already gone.
Thank your lucky stars. That book blew it. It certainly wasn't worth $7.
So, Drew, let me ask you this then. So, if you get this all of a sudden this big buzz and speculator hype, and I got to have that because it's the death of Kamala Khan, and then she comes back 4 months later, what does it do to that value of that speculation?
It's going down. Yeah, going straight down.
By the way, it might be sold out all over the place, but you can still buy it for cover price on eBay. So ASM 25 might have sold out at your shop. Either they under ordered or the scalpers came in, picked up all the copies and can't sell it now.
Caleb says, who gives a crap about Kamala? But I think Zeb Wells' Spider-Man run proves why he was on that trash tampon team for She-Hulk. Makes sense.
She-Hulk was not good.
No, it wasn't.
And he was he was the executive producer on that show.
Josh, should that kind of stink hang over Zeb Wells as a comic writer? Josh Lee?
I don't.
We're on a delay.
No, I'm
Josh.
here.
I'm sorry.
Here. I'm sorry. I think it's my internet. I don't know. I don't. Does anyone care about Zeb Wells? I mean,
he's a Spider-Man.
Do people outside of us?
Yeah, I know.
But are people like, oh, I can't wait to get this new Zeb Wells project, or oh my God, they just announced Zeb Wells for the. I don't know if he's got that weight. I think people are just like,
I did say that when they announced him on
that
Spider-Man, because I was like, his Hellion books was really good. He's done some okay stuff on Spider-Man in the past. I think this should be really good. I believe if She-Hulk had come out before ASM started, I would have had a different tune.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Definitely. I think it's definitely hurt his reputation. Comment says, someone tweeted Kyle Rayner refrigerator scene for Kamala. Did someone retweet of a redrawing with the scene Spider-Man and Kamala? Still believe the myth.
Yeah, I saw that. But I also think it's I think the whole fridging concept is sort of lopsided, and I think it misinterprets a very common hero trope, and they try to force it to make it men against women. And I think that's unfair, and I think you can thank Gail Simone for that one. But in this case, it's also misapplied because we don't know how she died. We don't know how Peter reacts to the death. And as we've established multiple times, there is no deep personal connection between Kamala and Peter. So
it should not motivate him to do much other than go
it
to
should
a
not.
funeral.
It should not motivate him in the way that the whole fridging theory has been offered up as a man can only be motivated by the death of his woman kind of thing. Yeah, that doesn't apply in this case. So I see people doing it, but it really doesn't make sense here.
I watched The Last Kingdom when that dude had his son's dong cut off. He seemed pretty motivated. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways you can motivate characters. That happens to be one of them. I'm sorry, Drew.
Maybe we'll find out in ASM 26 that he and Kamala had a relationship behind the scenes in that year Mary Jane was gone.
So he was banging a teenager?
Pedo Pete. Pedo Pete. Here we go. Pedo Pete.
No, let's move on from that. Common sense. People saying why Kamala can't die in her own comic book. Do you think Kamala should have died in the last issue of Thompson and Sarah Brunstad's Captain Marvel? Would the same backlash happen if they killed Kamala? Yes, I believe they would get the exact same backlash. They would just have a different reason for it. It would make more sense to kill off the character in Captain Marvel because that would be a motivating force for her rather than it not really motivating a character like Peter Parker. But you would never get the headlines and the notoriety doing it in Captain Marvel because ASM is the premier book that Marvel does.
Plus, there's a relationship there, right, between Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel. There's a relationship there. If you look at the last year of ASM, right from issue 1 all the way through till now, she's only popped up like 2 or 3 times, and even then only tangentially. She's had no participation in the plot whatsoever, other than she became an intern for Norman Osborn's Oscorp, which doesn't even make sense because she
had a shouting match with a
toilet, with
mosque.
With a mosque and a toilet and a water fountain and all. She's never been portrayed as like a science nerd kind of a person where she was like on Peter Parker's level. That's never been part of our character as far as I can recall. So everything about Kamala's presence in this title is forced. It's just jammed in there as this little tumor on the side of what's going on with Peter. Instead of bringing this up last minute, it just screams of manufactured controversy and contrivance. It just doesn't work.
That's a very eloquent way of putting it, Gabe. That was very well done, sir.
That's why I'm here. Yes.
Man.
Thank you.
You got the big words. That's where Doc falls. He can't get past like 4 or 5 letter words and he stumbles on himself.
What he lacks in vocabulary, he makes up for in beard length.
Well, also in enthusiasm.
Yes.
And cigarette butts.
And volume.
And heaters. Yes.
Yes.
Galileo. If he gets put on Blade, I'll apparently lose my mind. Plus, he gets a lot of hate and backlash on Instagram. I'm assuming he's talking about Zeb Wells. I believe the writer of Blade now, Josh, is the guy from True Detective, right?
Correct. Yeah. He stepped in to take over, which is honestly like a good sign. They've got a lot of good writers that are stepping in. So it's promising. Let's just hope for the best. I mean, clearly not anything's happening right now because of writer strike, but
I don't think Zeb Wells is going on Blade.
I think Zeb Wells is potentially going to prove that he cannot handle writing in film and television.
Yeah, that's definitely a good call. Common sense. If it was someone else like Norman Osborn or a guy no one cares about, because they'll come back. If it was Paul dies, everyone would celebrate. I would have celebrated Paul die. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Peter could have adopted the kids with Mary Jane, and
or
Mayday back.
Or we could have just not recycled the same garbage plot from Rick Remender's Captain America because that worked out so well for Captain America.
Absolutely. Never worked out. Terrence Bernard. If they're that upset where were the numbers for her comic TV show? Guardians what's that one?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones and Attack on Titan are the GOAT, but you're all afraid of your favorite character die.
That's a good one. Yeah.
A lot of my favorite characters died in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And then they gave us the worst ending in TV history since Lost.
Yep.
Well, there were no numbers for a comic book, and that's why it was canceled. Although it had Saladin Ahmed, so it probably wasn't all of the characters.
Hey, he's writing Daredevil, right?
Yeah, he's picking up from Starsky.
He's Roman Catholic, right? So he's fit to write Matt Murdock.
Hey, listen, we're not going to do that here.
I'm kidding.
That was a conversation for another day. Yeah, but yeah,
and I'm one of the few people that I kind of like the ending of Lost. I kind of liked it. There's a lot of heart there. I like heart. If you can give me heart, I can forgive a lot.
You liked the last 2 seasons of Lost.
I did.
They were. I wasn't too sold initially on the side jumps. Instead of back and forth, they went side to side. When we find out later why, but that ending, that last episode got me a little bit. So yeah.
The last episode wasn't nearly as bad as the stuff preceding it, but you could tell they didn't know what they were supposed to do, and they were just putting Fiddler out for like 2 years.
So much emotion. Emotion. You'll get me.
I'll also blame ABC for that, because they originally wanted to do 5 seasons and end the show, and ABC said no, and then forced them to come up with new mysteries. So they did, and then came back and were like, "Hey, you're ending this season." So they were like, "Okay, well, great."
So Josh, what you're saying is when a studio or a publisher messes with the logical progression and ending of a story, it makes it worse?
It does. It's crazy how that happens.
Absolutely. Comics says, if Kamala were a mutant, then Armor is going to have a problem with her because MCU's Kamala powers are a copy of Armor's powers. Is that what Josh Whedon is problematic by copy?
Are they the same though?
They're just going to turn.
I thought Armor just like kind of made like this big bodysuit around her.
Yeah.
But Kamala can project her crystals.
Yeah, she's good at fisting. Right. She's good at fisting stuff.
She's gonna fist people.
All they're gonna do is expand her power to, instead of making giant, fucking hologram fists. It's going to be everywhere around her body. They're going to conflate the 2 characters into one, and that's what you're going to get for the for.
They're never going to do anything with Armor in the MCU anyway.
Exactly. Well, they did. They tried to.
Yeah. Didn't work. Wade Tech Ted. Kamala is an afterthought, and Spider-Man has been dead since One More Day. Unfortunately, this big news is basically nothing to me.
I think that's how most people feel. Like,
pretty good pulse for the community on this one. Ideator, anything more cringe than comic book deaths?
No.
Comic book incest is more cringe.
No. More cringe than comic book deaths is marketing of comic book deaths.
Yeah, we're looping that as one with comic book deaths because that's all the death is.
Or Tom Taylor trying to make every superhero in the DC the universe that he writes not wanting to fight villains or defeat evil anymore. They're just fighting climate change.
They're just trying to build up their ESG score.
Yeah. Wait till you read Titans #1 if you haven't already.
Oh, we did.
Oh my goodness.
I passed.
It sucked.
So many backpacks and handshakes. It's ridiculous. I will say in general, deaths are good if they're done properly. And you could also say, extending that, comic book resurrection is really what makes that kind of meaningless. There is only one circumstance that I can think of in totality of comics for going back decades where I can think of where they did a death and they did it right. And then they did a resurrection and then they did it right for the most part. And then people liked it and they accepted it. It's with Superman. The death of Superman was a cultural event and it was a big deal and everybody bought into it. And then eventually he came back and it was a big deal and everybody bought into it. I think everybody's been chasing that.
And there was some logic to it, Gabe. I think
there was some logic to it. And it didn't happen right away. It took a while. You had the reign of Superman. You had everything going on with Coast City getting destroyed because Mongols showed up, and that drove Hal crazy, and he tried to destroy the universe with 0 Hour. You had all this stuff that happened that led up to that moment. They earned it, and I think that's the key: is they earned that death, and they earned that resurrection, and everybody's been chasing that ever since. And it's cringe now because nobody wants to earn it. This is exactly the point we're talking about. Kamala Khan's dead. What earns that? She hasn't even been in the series for the last 25 issues. How is that earned?
It means nothing anymore now. Except with the Krakoa, anyone can be resurrected now. It's like death means zero anymore.
Everybody wants that quick dopamine hit of the death and the shock, and then it goes down, and then they want the resurrection. It goes up and it goes down. Nobody wants to earn anything. Nobody wants to build it up and pay it off, and that's why everything feels cheap.
Goblin Sen says, people said Kamala don't have past relations with Peter, but they did team up in G. Willow Wilson's run and they swapped bodies in Al Ewing's team up. Knowledge lack. Yes, they've interacted a couple of times, and yes, they've tried to force them together in team up books, and it never sticks and it never feels right. No one that likes Spider-Man goes, you know what's a good character that Spider-Man likes is Kamala Khan. They're all just like, I'm glad, I hope she doesn't come back. They're not associated.
Yeah, I think one of the problems too, it's kind of like what Gabe mentioned earlier. Kamala Khan as a character is not a terrible character, and there is potential there. And it's one of those things that had they not tried to force her to be something and just been okay with her being a supporting character, I think one of the best ways to get people to buy into a character is show that they're not necessarily qualified yet. They're not necessarily there and capable yet, but you still show them trying and actively doing their best to make the world better. If you had a couple of years of Kamala doing that and then something terrible happened to her, and then the aftermath is like she had a lot of potential to shame, this may be something we're talking about, but that's not the case. They've tried to blow Kamala up as this big to-do character. She's not. And they're going to try to act like it's this huge sacrifice and then it's this huge loss, and it's not. You don't have competent writers and competent editors leading these stories.
And I don't think the body swap was Al Ewing. I think that was Eve Ewing. Those are two different people. Right?
Maybe.
I'm pretty certain one issue was from Kamala's perspective, and the next issue was the exact same event from Peter's perspective. Or maybe it was the second half of the book.
I'm sure they're actually the same person. Or they're not the same person.
Yeah.
Al Ewing is an overweight gay man from England, and Eve Ewing is a black woman from Chicago. I'm pretty certain they're not the same people.
Al Ewing is a fat pretend gay guy from England.
Well, I don't know how he blows, man. What are you talking about?
Because for many years he was straight, and then
who cares? I'm just saying they're clearly two different people.
Well, no, their photos are of clearly two different people. Who writes the comic
This is
not
a stupid
necessarily.
argument. We're moving on. Daniel Beatty, I'd save Howard the Duck over Kamala Khan.
There's no doubt there. Come on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Every day of the week.
Yeah,
Miss
Howard the Duck is a
Maria.
national treasure.
Yeah. Twice on Sunday.
I'd read Wes and Doc Kill the Marvel Universe. Well, you can't read that because the Marvel Universe is already dead. You could read Wes and Doc save the Marvel Universe, baby. Wouldn't mind doing that. Kill the second universe with Doc. As long as we didn't have to get into stupid arguments like we were just having. What the hell are you doing to me, Doc? Like the dumbest little side quest we ever did. Gobbin says, people forget Kamala died before in Jim Zub's Champions along with Viz Miles. Miles made a big deal with Mephisto copying Peter to undo Kamala's death. No stakes. Yeah, she died in, what was that, 2019?
Yeah.
Viz Vision, another character no one cares about.
Viv Vision.
Yeah, Viv, whatever. Goblin says Kamala and Doctor Strange is the same dumb strategy.
Yeah.
Where
Where did Doctor Strange die? Didn't he die in his own comic book at least?
Yes.
They did a mini series, The Death of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, he died, but he came back, and it was like a shark moment.
I go better.
But he was dead when his movie came out, and for like up until the next 8 months after the movie was out.
But also on a different level, Doctor Strange 2 was basically a sequel to WandaVision, the way the Marvels appears to be a sequel to the Ms. Marvel show. So this looks like they're copying on multiple fronts.
Yeah, the Marvels is going to be interesting because it's pretty much playing sequel to three things at this point, like Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel, and then WandaVision.
WandaVision, yeah.
You're a photon.
Yeah,
but it's actually aimed at 8-year-old girls, which Captain Marvel wasn't, and WandaVision certainly wasn't.
And it's going to be a lead-in to Secret Invasion, which is supposed to be
certainly not a kids show.
And Secret Invasion is coming before the Marvels. Now that they've,
not a lot of smart things going on there. Caleb says Kamala pulls Peter to her, and in her last breath, Peter, I am a Muslim girl. That's why I was a token avenger without earning it, and dies. I don't think they're going to go that one. That's probably not what they're going to do. Frank Zanka. Happy Saturday, guys. It might have been smart to have Kamala die in Avengers #1 since Captain Marvel is leading that and would have been a reason for the new team. Jesus, it's almost like Frank Zanka is a fucking writer. He's done
That's what I
screenplays
was
and
about to say.
television, and wrote, comic books, and realizes that you can actually have a logical progression and get your headlines too. That makes a lot more sense, Josh.
It makes way more sense, you know. Hey, Frank, have you ever tried reaching out to Marvel to see if you can, write quality content for them? Because they could probably use you right about now.
Well,
I'll be honest with you, that's a good idea, but I don't think they could afford him.
Probably not.
Probably not.
He's not diverse enough, maybe. I don't know.
If you like Frank Zanka's idea here, he is a writer and he is sponsoring today's show. There's a link in the video description to the Destiny Aurora Kickstarter campaign, audiobooks, graphic novels, real novels. I think there's a board game in there. There's all kinds of really good stuff as well as obviously the big audiobook and all that. You can bundle them up. Lots of good fun to have in that. There's obviously information on that during the on the little, what do you call that? The scroller?
Chiron.
It's called a Chiron?
I believe.
Yeah,
It's a ticker.
it is.
I thought it was called a ticker.
No, the Chiron. Well, the Chiron is the thing that right now is showing the super chat. Frank Zanka's super chat.
Yeah, I'm talking about the ticker. Yeah,
The
bottom.
ticker is the one at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, there's information obviously on the ticker as well. Definitely support Frank because he actually knows how to write good stories. He could have saved Marvel and got him out of this enormous mess right there. Just in one sense. Callum says, the thing about J.J. Abrams is he never plans and never thinks about the ending first. It drags, and drags. Even The Simpsons made fun of the Lost.
He's
The
a
mystery
mystery box writer.
Yep, mystery box.
He's a pantser, what they call a pantser.
Like the
So
tank?
No. In writing, people tend to generally fall into two categories. They're plotters or they're pantsers. Plotters will sit down and they'll sketch out a plot. They'll like, well, I start here, I end here, I hear the milestones, blah blah blah. They give an outline of the plot. Pantsers just start writing. And then they basically write by the seat of their pants. That's where it comes from. They write by the seat of their pants. Yeah. So then wherever it winds up is where it winds up. They let the stream of consciousness flow.
Yeah, well,
Abrams.
Here's the thing. Do you know how you get into the problem with current Marvel Comics and everybody and all the other publishers? Is by being a plotter, because you already have an ending for a never-ending story. That's the problem.
I think. Well, how about I'll adjust that a little bit. Is I think there are way too many writers at Marvel, and DC is extending that as well, who bought into the concept of the Marvel method, forgetting about what the Marvel method came from. If anybody who's on the chat who's not familiar, is basically Stan Lee and the people around him. They came up with something called the Marvel method because you had too few people writing too many books at the same time. So what they did is they came up with like a rough guide of this is where I want the story to go, and he just gave it to his artists like Jack Kirby, who knew how to tell stories through his art and just let him kind of continue it. That's why they've got into all these arguments about who created this character and that character, because it's really a collaborative process. But now they had to do that because it was just too many titles with the same people writing on the same thing. They had to come up with some kind of shorthand to make that possible. The problem is you get into scenarios now where you have one writer on one title and they'll say, well, I'm using the Marvel method. That's not meant for you. If you've got time to sit and write a script, you write the damn script. You don't just like give somebody a rough outline and say, oh, just,
all right.
No, but that's not the issue. The issue is a question of when you have ostensibly a never-ending serialized product, having an ending written for your story kind of kills the whole never-ending part of it.
Doc, I've done multiple videos with writers about writing comic books, and all the ones that seem competent to me say you have an ending of your story arc, and obviously you do feed in information on what's going to drive the next story arc, and you lead into that as well. Yeah. You should absolutely know where you're going.
Oh, you should have for that individual short next 3 to 6 issues. Yes. Should you plot out the end of your story, which is what a lot of writers do now? No, because you know what it leads to? It leads to the book getting rebooted. Do you know how many times, David Michelini, Chris Claremont, even, Paul
what are you
Levitz.
talking about? Chris Claremont clearly had an ending multiple times. If you read his X-Men comic book, when he's at an end, they go and play fucking softball for an issue, and then they start the next adventure.
They took a break, but none of the story was over.
That's the ending of the previous story.
I think Doc's point is that too many writers today are writing definitive endings. That
yes, for the writing for the trades.
Exactly.
No,
I think my
definitive
point
endings,
is
they
like
don't have a
Doc's
B plot.
saying. I think they're saying like, fine, in your plot, in your arc, have an ending for the arc, but we're seeing too many writers have a definitive ending for characters, and that's
Yes.
causing reboots or characters to be written in a corner where then the publisher can't really do anything with them. So I think that's his point on ending is like too many writers are coming in trying to make their mark or create a staple. So they create this moment that should serve as a definitive ending for a character, and then they try to go forward, and you can't really
I
do
think
that.
that probably has a lot to do with the way Marvel and DC are contracting these things out. Like, they're only
100%.
hiring these people for 6 to 12 issues max.
If that,
when they're doing the hiring, so you can't
Yeah.
really plan it or think about things that are going to happen in 2 years' time because you're never going to get there for
Yeah.
the most part. All right. Nerd says, speaking about not caring, how do indie comics get people to care as much for their characters as characters in the big two? You don't talk about the stories found at Alterna, and those are really good stories. You can't get Alterna comics here in the Philippines, so it's hard for me to cover Alterna too much, although I did back in the day when I could get them. It is much harder to get your indie character over than it is for the big two because those characters are already established. Many of them have 60 to 80 years of history, and the baby characters might have 40 years of history. So you're going to have to work a whole lot harder. You're going to have to do a whole lot more promotion and get the word out about your character, but it obviously can't happen. Look at Spawn. Look at TMNT. Look at some of the other indie characters or indie comic books out there. But if you're going to do something like at the scale of Alterna, you're never like, you can't compare that to what Marvel and DC. Those are being distributed on a nationwide level on a weekly basis. So,
to be honest,
Alterna's a completely different animal.
And like you said, Wes, I don't see a lot of those creators promoting their books from my end. I don't hear about them a lot. I used to see a lot more of Alterna a couple years ago. I don't really see that much talk about Alterna anymore. And I'll say, like, I hustle the ass out of Born of Blood whenever there's a new comic book coming out for that. You'll see it anywhere and everywhere on Facebook and Instagram. But these guys, they're kind of promoting it, I guess. I don't see it.
Wait, Drew, I don't understand. How are you able to make so much money with your indie creative comics if you're not e-begging on Twitter just to make the funding threshold?
Oh, that's true.
Oh, are you saying that people need to market their comics properly? Is that what you're saying?
Are you suggesting that I could make people feel guilty, guilt them into backing my book on Twitter?
Are you saying that you should only offer comics to people who actually want to buy them and have money?
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Are y'all saying that the comic book industry is a business? Fuck off.
That's rough.
What?
That's not cool.
Well, but to answer the question, indie creators get more to care because they own what they're making, right? So if somebody comes into Marvel or DC and they have to write Batman as a Batman example, they don't own Batman. It's a paycheck, and then that's not to denigrate people earning a paycheck, but it is to say that the way a lot of these gigs are structured now is, they don't really do royalties anymore. If the comic is successful or not, it doesn't matter. Here's the script, I take my money, and then I go away. So there's no promise of future investment. There's no longevity to what they're doing. With indies, you don't get that. They are invested in the characters. It came from their mind. It's almost like a child. So there's definitely more personal, emotional investment in indie comics when they have to put something out in the world. Now that doesn't mean they do a great job of marketing and getting this and making great stories. That depends on the individual. But indies, the creators are invested with indies. They are not invested with the big two. Generally speaking.
Absolutely.
I think
and the boys from Sigma Comics say shave him for Skip. Absolutely. If you weren't here with us for the beginning, I was talking about how Skip just finished up his first round of chemotherapy. He's doing well. He's going to start up his next round in the not too distant future. And as a show of solidarity, we are shaving our balls for Skip and Tosh. We're going to do it the entire time until he's fully through this and cancer free. So definitely shave him for Skip and show some solidarity and shave your balls, people. Kyle Weil, law summary. The code to open the vault is the same lottery numbers that won the lottery. It's the same as the phone number of a couple. What does it mean? Gabe, you're the one that was, defending lost.
I don't even remember that part. I couldn't tell you. I don't even. I mean,
there was a lot of weird. Being important.
There was a lot of weird
dying in the boat and drowning, and the numbers.
Well, it never went anywhere. So I mean, that was the mystery box. It got opened.
Off even
that was that.
Yeah, there
Never
were
went
definitely plot
anywhere.
points that didn't get resolved. Before we move on, there was a chat in there. It wasn't a super chat. It was a chat. It was from General Balsack, who asked a question about he's writing a novel. It's not finished. Should he go start his Kickstarter or Indigo, whatever? I want to answer this. This is a very clear point, and Drew, if you can back me up on this, I think you'll agree. You market before you launch. You don't wait until it's time to sell the thing to start marketing. If you're doing a comic, if you're doing a book, if you're doing a video game, if you're doing whatever you're doing, you market early, often, and before you're ready to deliver. That's not to say you take 6 years to deliver after you take people's money. It is to say you market early and you market often before you're ready to launch. If you wait till your launch day, you're going to struggle. Don't wait.
Build it up. And like case in point, Gabe, I got a completely indie project I am working on for Kickstarter with my buddy Aurelio Mazzara, who did the art for Born in Blood 5 and 6. It's coming out Friday the 13th in October. It's a Halloween. It's a horror superhero comic we're doing. So we're going to be we're doing the character designs. First issue is already written, but we're going to be doing the promotions here next month or so for this coming out in October. So build it up.
There you go. Wade Tech, Ted. Teenagers are written horribly in comics now. Kara, Tim, John, David, etc. Kamala could have been a fine character like Kara was briefly, but she has go away heat. Oh man, X-Pac heat, huh? That's the worst kind of heat.
It's because none of the writers that are writing them have children. They're not exposed to teenagers. Their friends don't have children.
You don't necessarily have to have kids. I mean, all it takes is just going out into public, going out to a mall, walking around, listening to conversations. That's what I do. I eavesdrop on conversations with families all the fucking time.
You are so creepy and you don't even know it, sir.
Oh my goodness.
But here's the phrase. Be a student of people.
Yeah.
You have to be a student of people, understand how people are different and how different people react in different ways.
Yeah.
And if all you get about understanding how people work is by watching Game of Thrones, then you're in trouble.
I think this is the bigger problem. Drew, obviously you're a writer on this one. I think one of the bigger problems is their character essentially is being a teenager. They don't think about like what are the positives of the character? What sets them off? What are they good at? What defines them as a person? What is their history? What's their family life? There we go. Finally got it right. All those things drive how a character is going to react, whether it be a kid, a teenager, an adult, an old person. And they never like define those things out. So every character exactly sounds like the same exact person because it's just generic teenage character. It's not teenage character that has dyslexia, but happens to be a good athlete who grew up in a single home and has always looked up to Spider-Man. Now you can start defining how a character would react and actually speak in a certain situation. But if everybody is just super smart, teen prodigy, genius teenage character with nothing that makes them inherently different from anything else, of course they're all going to sound like generic, like robot characters.
It shows a lack of effort. It shows a lack of care, in my opinion, because I'll say, like you said, I'm a writer. Like another one I'm doing right now from Rob Michaels is going to be an ongoing at a very explosive company. But these two characters, I mean, if I wasn't trying and I didn't care, they'd sound exactly alike. But I'm doing everything in my damn power to make them sound so different, to be different, to act differently, that they have personality. You're going to see the difference in them, because I care about this. Because I want them to have their own unique voices. I want them to have different perspectives on life. That's what makes them a character. They're different. They don't care by doing that. There's a lack of effort, lack of trying.
When you read something like Rogue Sun, that's out right now from Image, written by Ryan Parrott, the guy that was doing Power Rangers. One of the reasons I like Dylan isn't specifically because he's a really cool guy. He does things that I don't like and I can't agree with, but I completely understand how he comes to that conclusion or why he does that, because his history and who he is pushes the story forward, and he's actually allowed to be an individual. You would never get a character that would speak like that or even act like that in Marvel Comics because he's completely defined. You don't see that anywhere else.
Yeah, I love Rogue Sun too. It's arguably, in my opinion, the best of the Kyle Higgins Radiant universe. It is amazing. But like you said, he is a kid. He makes mistakes. That's what's great about it. He jumps to conclusions. He's a teenager. He's he's stumbling along the way to becoming an adult. It's what's great about it. We're seeing him grow as an individual, as a character. I love seeing that as a writer and a reader. But Marvel, they don't like that. They like their characters to already be fully developed, and I hate that. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, great point, Wade Tech. Miss Maria says, I gave up on the MCU. I gave up on the MCU because I ate my homework. Well, lucky for you, because I'm watching Quantumania. I'm almost halfway through it, and it's awful. Once MODOK shows up, that was rough.
Hey, Sean loved it. Sean loved the movie. That's all I gotta say. Oh,
have you seen MODOK's butt yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw MODOK's butt.
Oh, that's awful. The highlight of the movie, so I'm sorry.
I'm not a dickhead.
Gallup says the other thing about writers today is they hold themselves back by this imaginary, non-existent Netflix movie budget. Yeah. You are absolutely correct. A lot of people do not fully execute their stories fully to the potential of comic books, where there are no strings on you as in a budget.
Yes. One thing I have posted by where I write, it says, think bigger. Always think bigger. And it's like, if it's too small, like I always second guessing, like, is this really, could it be bigger? Could this be more explosive? Could this be somewhere else? And I'm always saying, do not be Marvel. Think bigger.
Wow, that's a lot of Image too. Image is held back way back by everybody thinking they're doing a Netflix pitch. Yeah. Nerd says ending's the problem. One Piece and Conan disagree.
Well, yeah, I think there's a misinterpretation there. So we're not talking about with One Piece, and I think part of the comment that earlier is we're not talking about ending the character's life or ending their journey and period then we're with it. We're talking about writing discrete encapsulated stories that have a beginning, middle, and end. So you're right. One Piece is still ongoing. It's been going on for 11, 12 years at this point, over 1,000 chapters in that thing. But you can still say these are discrete arcs. This is the beginning of that arc. Here's where he went through, and this is the end of the arc before we transition into the new arc. That doesn't mean the character ends or that One Piece ends, although it probably will eventually. But you have discrete arcs that you can encapsulate and say, okay, this is where they go to Skypiea. This is where they met the clown pirates. Doing all those kinds of things. So you can have an ending for an arc, not necessarily ending of the character's journey altogether, but the problem you run into is when they just start going but don't really have an ending for that particular arc in mind. We'll see. We'll figure out where it ends up, and it just ends up being a mess.
Conan, I think, is a bad example because he actually started out like as a pulpy character, like Sherlock Holmes, and we know the ending for Conan. We know the ending for Sherlock Holmes. Those are written because they wrote the stories and chronicles of the characters kind of out of order. Kind of thing. So those characters were handled differently. Obviously, Conan has been featured a lot in comic books, but even then, like the Dark Horse stuff definitely jumped around, was handling individual stories that were told for Conan. I love Conan. He's such a good character.
Yeah, and Marvel recently lost a license. It was picked up by Titan, and they had a 0-issue come out on Comic Book Day, which was good, very good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that issue #1 from Titan and see where they go with it. It seems like they're leaning back into the Conan's roots rather than the sort of sanitized, homogenized version that Marvel was playing with.
Absolutely. Professor Gen X, I want to say thank you very much for supporting the channel and sending the sticker out. Really appreciate that one. Common Sense says, Snipe and Slug need more promotion because no one knows. I have been looking forward to Snipe and Slug. I like Peter J. Tomasi, and I was looking forward to that series. It was going to be in the Jeff Johns universe that he was creating an Image after, was it Junkyard Joe and
Geiger?
Geiger's the first one that kind of broke it all out. I didn't know that Snipe and Slug had come out yet.
I don't think so.
I haven't seen it.
No.
It's earmarked on my to-do list to read. So if it actually started, damn, I completely missed it.
No, the only thing from Tomasi that's come out is that one about the serial killer sewing wings onto people and they're falling from
the blood tree.
Yeah, blood tree. Yeah, that's it.
But I'm a big Peter J. Tomasi fan, so I'm definitely looking forward to that one. And I certainly would promote if it was a good comic book because I would have read it because I'm a big fan of it. There's a good artist on that one as well. HH and the guys from Sigma Comics, shout out to the Thinking Critical team. Support the channel, Power Hour, and sign up here Sign up for Here Comes Calico Manga Volume 2, coming soon to Kickstarter. Absolutely. We got all kinds of great crowdfunding comic book stuff here. We've got the stuff from Drew. We've got Frank Zanga's project. We've got HH's second volume of Here Comes Calico in manga edition. Now, my good friend Eric O'Sullivan got the first volume of the manga version of Here Comes Calico.
Yes.
And you said that was like a primetime product.
It's really cool. It's a really good delivery system for this comic book, and it really works really well. I mean, I'm looking
and it
forward
reads
to part
backwards and everything else that Doc hates.
And Doc hates it. No, Doc, you should give a try to this. Because it's a bridge between American style comics and manga. Maybe this could be your gateway drug.
Are you excited for the second volume in Kickstarter?
Yes.
There you go.
I'm gonna go do it and support indies and keep this going.
Gobbin says good teen characters: Sam Alexander, Connor Young, Miguel, and Summer from Dial H for Hero, Becca from Weird World, all the cast from Strange Academy. That was a refreshing thing about Strange Academy, is they all had their points of view. They all came from different parts of the magical realm. Some of them you felt, well, they must be evil because their parents were evil, and they had different story arcs, and they were able to give them their own purpose and sense of personality. That's why Strange Academy succeeded, where like Teen Titans Academy and Gotham Academy failed so bad.
Yeah, I loved. I think it was Calvin. He had the magic coat or whatever. He was by far.
He becomes a drug dealer.
Yeah, because a drug dealer. I loved it. It was great. You understood his motivations for why he did it, and that's missing a lot of times. Motivations. Creators aren't asking why. Why is this character doing this? Why? Why am I having? Those questions are not being asked.
Yeah. Dial H for Hero is also a really cool series. It's too bad. I mean, the relaunch was okay there for a minute under Wonder Comics, but it didn't really go anywhere. It was too bad. Nerd says, I think poor writing has to do with their belief systems at its core. Mere existence equals virtue, and postmodernism seems to be the backbone of the big two.
But yeah, postmodernism has a lot of destructive influence on creativity. I'll give you that. It also boils down to, what the reason why it comes down to this way is I think a lot of writers just lack empathy. They lack the ability to see situations and scenarios from another person's point of view. So if you want to write a character properly, you have to project your mind into that character's perspective and see the world as they see it and respond to the world as they would respond to it. And so that you hear that complaint a lot of the times. It's like all these characters are written the same, or that character is reacting in a way that canonically they've never reacted before. It's because the writer didn't properly put themselves into that person's frame of mind and in their shoes to get them to respond and to think and to feel the way they should feel as a different person. You have to have empathy to do that. You have to be able to see something from another person's point of view and then play that out accordingly. If you play that person as yourself, if you project yourself into that person, then that's when you get the sort of homogenized version of all the characters are just sort of different versions of the writer.
Well,
and that usually never works out because most writers are boring.
The problem you come up with is writers now believe that you cannot write a character that you do not agree with, and that writing a character that you disagree with is an acceptance of said character's
You're promoting
worldview. Yes, you are promoting a bad worldview by merely representing it. That's and it doesn't get any more complicated than that. It's not a lack of empathy. They probably can, but they believe that just even giving it a voice.
I'll be honest, Doc. I'm feeling a lack of empathy almost worldwide right now.
Yes. Oh boy. Well, yes, but
I think social media is absolutely removing the face-to-face contact where you can see how someone reacts to the way that you're communicating with them has made people absolute dickheads. It happened in video games too. Like I heard my 8-year-old kids, not my kids, I'm sorry, my 8-year-old nephews, like talking to adults while they were playing Madden football. It was like, you would never speak to those guys if you were face-to-face like that. You wouldn't call them that.
The tone of the conversation in your local comic book shop is never outragey and it's never negative. There's always a balance of energy because you're literally an arm's distance of another person. They could I'm from Boston. You can get socked at any moment here.
Well,
You know?
well, I mean, yeah, you know what? Mike Tyson made a good point about that. You know, social media made y'all motherfuckers forget what it's like to talk to somebody and take the risk of getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah. But like, I never noticed like any. I love having conversations at my LCS for like, because it's like you're with real people now. We've already gone through our lockdown. Let's get back out of the house. Let's get back to our local comic book shops and spend our money there. And hey, buy your supplies there too, your boxes and your boards while you're there.
I think
You
it's a
need
lot
supplies.
easier to just claim you're autistic than go out there and treat people like human pigs.
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Twitter isn't real life. Let's go back to real life. Let's not just touch grass. Let's spend our money at our local comic book shops.
Well, we could all use some more
Yes.
person-to-person interactions. Blade Kramer, coming soon to 2023. T. Franklin's Justice League. YOLO Gabe Face. I don't think they would do that. Justice League are important. I imagine Josh Williamson will write that because he writes all their books now for the most part.
Wes, it wouldn't be our standard Justice League. It would be a sub Justice League group called Justice League Capable.
Well, they've already done that in her Harley Quinn series, right? They created the new
I don't
Legion
know.
of
I
Doom,
didn't-
but they were something else.
I didn't pick
Man.
that crap up.
Well, they also created Peg Like Beyonce. So
Buy the rights for Handyman from the Wayans brothers. You know, bring him to DC.
No one
Comics.
would ever make a funny thing that was that offensive ever again.
You guys are laughing at this, but most of you guys are in our Twitter group, and you know because I've shown you screen caps. Wait till you read DC Pride 2023.
Oh God.
Holy God!
Why do you say
Wait.
like that? Like we would read it? You think Eric's going to pick that comic book up? I'm not reading it. The only person here that's going to read it is probably Drew if he has.
Wes, I say this with all menace and disdain towards Doc. Please make Doc read that issue. Please make Doc read that issue.
that means
like
Wes
a
has
lot.
to read it too.
Well, yeah, this is like I don't know. Is it going to make a good video?
I'll
I'll do it for the viewers, but I'm not.
3 words. Drag Justice League.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sold. We're going to do that one. I probably won't do it with Doc.
Doc, I apologize in advance, but
Okay,
we suffer for our art. You have
Here, Gabe. I will make you a promise. If Wes makes me read that, instead of flying to the Philippines to punch him in the fucking dick, I will fly to wherever the fuck you are and beat you with a golf club. How about that?
freshly shorn
off
dick.
like
Bruce
Rhode
seen
Island
it.
vibes or
Josh,
something.
Josh, you've seen it. Am I lying? Am I lying?
No, because I misread it at first and didn't realize they were drag queens. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And I started bitching about it. And Gabe's like, look again and look closely. I'm like, son of a bitch. Come on.
Get ready
there
for the
you go.
adventures of Queen Lantern. That's all I'm going to say.
If you have not been paying attention to the chats, the live chat that's going on right now, Skip has joined us. We've been talking about what Skip's going through. So if you want to give him some good vibes and speak to him, he is in there now. But definitely give him a nice shout out on social media. Let him know that we're supporting him. And it's good to see that Skip has joined us today. Like I said, he just finished up, I believe, his first round of chemo. So he's hopefully feeling better. Chris says, I don't understand ASF. Are they marrying Paul and MJ? Proposal at Tombstone's wedding is still bound to Magic Demon Kids.
Are they marrying Paul and MJ? There's no indication of that, although MJ has declared that 4 years of being the last 2 people on their earth has established a relationship he's not willing to break. Is there going to be a proposal? Who knows? They're trying to play up this Tombstone wedding like it's a big deal. I don't know anybody who thinks that's a big deal. It's just a wedding of 2 D-list supporting characters. So I don't get it. And are they Magic Demon Kids? No, from all accounts, they're just regular kids that were orphaned on this alternate Earth, and they just sort of picked them up and pseudo adopted them. That's about it. So I don't know.
It's literally the exact same plot as Captain America.
Yeah.
Remender's Captain America. That's all it is. The Nomad right now in Marvel is basically the exact same as the son of MJ here. It's the exact same fucking plot.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Common Sense says, I can say Inferno Girl read too. She kind of blank slate, but she still struggles, makes mistakes and flaws, and grows a person. Why it's important to be a hero.
Yeah, I didn't care for the first couple issues. I thought that the daughter was insufferable. But that's
You didn't like Green Lantern #1.
I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great. I mean,
I heard you trashed it. They said that you burnt it on the channel.
I did not physically burn myself. I did not physically.
I heard you took a wipe with it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, maybe I took a wipe with it, but still, like the last half of the comic was the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds.
It was perfectly fine in the comic book. He's getting him back to the basics so he can move him in a direction that makes sense for Hal Jordan.
It's a good level set. It's a good level set.
Yes.
The John Stewart story in the back was the best part. I love that story with John Stewart.
What, with Man Bun Guy Gardner?
Yeah.
That was an alternate universe, Guy Gardner. Alternate universe.
Well, actually, it's worse. It wasn't an alternate universe. It was the dream universe from the Dark Crisis event that was supposed to have gone away.
Yes.
Oh god.
So I don't know how it came back.
Infinite Earths, man.
Man, sometimes Drew he's in a bad mood, and when he reads a good comic book, he just doesn't like it anyway. And then he's likes what the backup story is fine. It was perfectly fine, but I like the babe. I thought it was pretty damn good. Definitely better than Titans this week.
Yes.
Gallup says, and the writers only care about who's screwing who. And yes, 100%, I agree that they have no empathy or perhaps walked out the door. There's a whole lot of emphasis on who's screwing who, or who's interested in screwing what.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of focus on the heroics these days. Caleb also says, most autistic and Asperger syndrome people want to be left alone. Take it from someone who knows. And like I said, I think T is lying. I don't know if she's lying or whatever. I'm just saying
a lot of it's self-diagnosis. I'm sure
that's what I'm saying. A lot of people say that they are just so they can get away with being assholes nowadays. But back when I grew up, it didn't matter if you were being a dickhead. You were called a dickhead. Well, I have autism. Well, it doesn't mean you have to be an asshole, does it? And you'd be called on your stuff. No one calls each other on anything anymore, except for Eric.
Exactly.
When he's a jerk off, I let him know.
I'm a complete a-hole at times.
I don't care what you diagnosed yourself this week, sir. You're going to stop.
I'm an asthmatic.
I'm asthmatic. I can't take it. Nerd, would you ever consider call-ins with Streamlabs? Yes, I would. This is something that has been discussed in the past where I believe it was Perch and I were going to do like a late night comic talk show thing with call-ins. But we never got around to it. I don't know how to do a digital patch board with people calling in and monitoring that and all that stuff. And I'm not in America, so I'd probably have to spend like $80 on a number or something. But I would love to do it. I love interacting with people. I think it's a lot more fun when people are interacting with the show. So it has been considered, it has been discussed, and it's something I would like to do at some point. I just got to get there. Thanks for reminding me. I kind of forgot about that. That was like 2 years ago when we talked about that. Ideator. The idea behind a superhero is that they have abilities others don't. Daredevil works because his disability is actually a super ability. He's a hack. I don't think every superhero has to have the abilities.
No, it's all in here. That's what makes them a hero.
Yeah, I think it's their
Batman doesn't
actions
have any
and the
superpowers.
core of the person. Yeah.
Which, I'm not going on to this, but yes, to be a superhero, you must have powers. You could be a vigilante. You
have to have abilities, but I don't think you have to have powers. He says it right there. He says abilities.
Okay, I don't.
Okay, well,
All right, fine. I'll accept.
When he's just the world's greatest.
I'll accept abilities as not being superpowers.
Consider vigilantes a subset of superheroes. How about that? Vigilantes.
Costumed adventuring.
Yeah.
No. You got it backwards. It would be superheroes or a subset of vigilante.
But he makes a good point here. When you look at Daredevil, you don't feel bad about him because he's blind. You're like, that's really cool that he's blind and he's taken this, what's supposed to be a disability, and turned it into a reason and a way to become a superhero himself. When you look like at a T. Franklin comic book, and they're always about a disabled person, you're supposed to feel bad about them for them being disabled. You never see an inventive way where they turn that to their positive kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Agree. Well, I would consider Matt Murdock a tragic character, not a pathetic character. Literally pathetic.
Super tragic, because everyone around him dies, and he's very self-destructive. Every time he falls in love, he ends up destroying something.
He doesn't make anyone else feel guilty about him being blind. He doesn't feel guilty about it at all. Whereas T. Franklin characters, they make everyone else feel bad because they feel bad.
Yeah, if anything, Daredevil has much more in common with the Hulk.
Yeah,
for similar reasons.
Absolutely, tragic hero.
Yep.
Miss Maria says, speaking of Conan, Back from Crom the Destroyer by the Fourth Age. Oh, back Crom the Destroyer by the Fourth Age. Indiegogo RJ inspired by Conan. Absolutely. I've talked to RJ about that. He's a really good guy. He loves Conan and he loves traditional storytelling. He certainly is into those pulpy heroes. So definitely back anything by RJ. He's a really great guy. He's a good friend of the channel. And I know he works really hard. And Crom the Destroyer sounds great.
Yeah.
I say to hell with you, Crom. Thank you.
What is it? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, so you can hear the lamentations of their women.
Yes.
Get to the
Is
chopper.
that the greatest line in movie history?
It's up there.
Might be.
I don't know. Get to the chopper is right up there.
I'm over here.
You're
Baby buggy, rubber baby buggy pumpers.
It's not a
Last
Tuma.
Action Hero.
Oh no! The one that's definitely boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Thanks for the tip.
It's not a
Reading, writing, arithmetic. Too much homework make me sick.
Common Sense says, "Hi, Drew. I'm Common Sense. I'm here to call out your BS and what's IGR number 2?
No
I
idea.
don't know. What's IGR? Let us know in the chat. It's
Cassie
common
and
sense.
Anna.
Cassie and Anna didn't laugh and giggle. They try to find the villain, just like Marcus and Dylan. Difference is healthy parents and child relationship.
Ghost Rider, like intergalactic Ghost Rider.
Oh, it's is it that stupid cosmic Ghost Rider?
Immortal. Wait, what's
I don't
oh
know.
isn't
Inferno
Is it-
Girl Red.
Inferno Girl
oh.
Red.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't connect to it at all. It came across like it was written for a 12-year-old girl. That's the audience, and I'm not that demographic.
Yeah, but Green Lantern #1 was written for 35-year-old guys that really like the Air Force in their country, and you didn't like that either.
Slightly, I guess. Not really. I think it was written for people who like the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie, but hey,
I think it was more like an homage to Top Gun Maverick than Ryan
Yeah, I
Reynolds.
agree with that. Yeah.
that's a bit of a stretch. I don't know about that.
He has the exact same conversation with Carol as
It's the exact
Maverick has with the fucking
conversation
Admiral.
in the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds, and I was not the biggest fan of the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Everyone dumped that, man. No one's thinking about Ryan Reynolds. Oh, that movie is bad.
Yeah, it's the exact same conversations from that film in the book, and I did not care for the film. Did not care for the book.
Well, I think you're just being a little too sensitive. Skip says we need more Josh. Josh, where are you? Where
I'm
are you?
here.
Get in here.
Skip, I'm having internet issues, so that's why I'm not as talkative today. But
He
don't
was
worry,
having some lag where
Yeah.
he was about 2 seconds behind us.
I thought everything was bigger in Texas.
Well, once you shave it
What
down,
is-
everything gets bigger.
How big is the Devil's Corn Dog in Texas?
You know, it depends on where you get the devil's corn dog at. You know, certain places have bigger ones, others don't.
Oh, good.
Keep it away
Some
from
are
me.
more spicy. Some are
Shockingly,
more
the
mild.
Devil's Corn Dog was enjoyable. I don't know what people were supposed to
I mean, I'd
scare
try
away.
a spicy
I
corn
did.
dog.
Yeah,
I'm
No,
not
don't,
calling
it was
don't,
good.
don't Google it. Don't Google it.
Do not Google it, but you know, if you're in the neighborhood, pick one up. Cal says, I'd say the only positive for Hulk was Jen loving that she became She-Hulk. I'm assuming he's talking about the She-Hulk TV show.
Yeah, did she really love becoming She-Hulk? I never really got that impression. It always seemed like she was fighting against it. In the comics, she embraced it more, but in the show, it always seemed like she, at war with herself is sort of overstating it. But it never really felt like she got comfortable in it until she kind of got something out of it, which I think
Yeah.
was a weird way to develop that character.
It was a
Um,
strange way.
It was
Yeah.
a strange way, and it really didn't endear her to the audience as a heroic character. It was she almost kind of came off as superficial and opportunistic, which is
Yep.
kind of an odd way to get get the audience on your side. But you know, there's a
You
lot.
know
Of
what's
wrong,
really
there's a lot
strange?
wrong with She-Hulk. There's a lot wrong with She-Hulk.
Yul Carter just said he liked the Green Lantern movie. I've never met anybody that liked that movie.
It wasn't that bad.
I wouldn't say I
it's
liked
pretty
it.
bad.
I would say that I didn't mind it. It didn't bother me as much as it bothers some other
I
people.
really liked the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, of whom he met on that set, and Taika Waititi as what's this? I don't want to use the
name, yeah.
yeah, I don't want to say.
I mean, I really like Mark Strong as Sinestro.
Yes.
Yes.
All the stuff on Oa actually worked, which technically should be the hardest thing to make work in a Green Lantern movie. And then all the stuff on Earth I thought was awful, especially them trying to do the guy with the big head.
Tom Kalamata. All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it the Thinker or no?
No,
The
it's,
Mad Thinker.
Is it
Hector Hammond.
Hector Hammond. Yes.
Hector
Yeah.
Hammond.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Nerd says, hot take, manga is fundamentally better than comics. Manga characters work to gain power, and the villains are granted it. Comic characters just get powers and do what they want with it.
I don't think that's a hot take anymore. I think most
No.
people that are reading manga tend to agree with that sentiment.
Although, if you want to be accurate, we don't. Manga is comics.
It's Japanese comics.
Shut
Poking the
up.
bear.
So if you
Oh,
want,
actually,
if you want to distinguish
we can't
it,
do it for 20 minutes because I got to get some chicken nugget in me.
we got
Yeah,
some chicken
if
nuggets.
you want to distinguish it, you have to distinguish it. It's Western periodical comics. That's how.
Yeah.
That's,
But he is
that's
right. Back in the day in a comic book, if you were a villain, you most likely stole your powers or gained them in a very nefarious way. And if you were a hero, you kind of earned your powers, and it was a big differentiator. But I don't think they realize the difference between villains and heroes in American comics anymore.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's modern writing, though. I mean, because fiction, we're given this fictional place for a reason. We can have absolute good and absolute evil. And
So I'm watching Quantumania, and they got Kang in here. It's supposed to be
Uh-huh.
the ultimate epitome of evil. And he's like crying and feeling bad, and you just feel so bad for the guy. He's in a bad place. And you're like, this guy is like the epitome of evil in this universe. He's your big bad. Why are you making him so goddamn sympathetic?
Hopefully
If
this
anything-
trend
if
will go
anything, you
away.
if
Because
anything, you
it's a
should give more
terrible
people
fucking movie.
Right,
The
but
end.
the way they set that up is people should be against him because when you break down his actions and his mindset, effectively he's the ultimate fascist.
Mhm.
He manipulates time, he manipulates lives, he manipulates every single event to suit what he thinks should be the right way for things to play out. By his very nature, he is the ultimate fascist, and yet you don't see people talking about that because they love Jonathan
No.
Majors and all that
It was
stuff.
like the same thing with Thanos. It's like this guy wants to commit genocide on a mass scale. The only character that ever says you shouldn't do that is Doctor Strange. Everyone else just kind of goes with it. Whatever. Calibile says, no, not the show, just the comics, but especially in the cartoon.
Oh, that's the
the
Hulk
She-Hulk.
comment.
The She-Hulk. He's
Yeah.
talking about
The
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
Is Jen in the Hulk comic? I'm not reading the current.
No.
Oh.
The
She's
current
got a
She-Hulk
She-Hulk
comic?
from Rainbow Rowell.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
You didn't like the book club issue where none of them finished the book that they read?
They had a book club?
Oh yeah, they had a book club. It's very webtoony slice of life romance. You'll have multiple issues in a row where nothing happens, and I mean that's not an exaggeration. Literally, nothing happens. She goes to the park. She talks to Jack of Hearts. They go to eat. She goes to work, and then she comes home. I mean, I'm describing at least 3 or 4 issues in the run so far.
Yeah. Marvel
That sounds awful. Goblin Set says, Drew, you quit on page 9 of Inferno Girl Red. You quit when Cassia transforms to fight the monsters. Western mom, Anna never had powers, and she was a great character.
If I get to page 9 and I quit, is typically because the dialogue, the characters, something is so insufferable that I cannot continue the book. That does not happen that often. If I got to page 9, that says a lot. Like the characters, the dialogue. I don't know at this because I read a lot since then, but something was so insufferable I could not continue the book.
Well, Batman doesn't have any powers, and he's a great character. You don't have to have powers to be a great character in comic books.
Yeah,
I like Alfred. There you go.
Hmm.
Well, we never really got to the second topic.
I told you.
Well, Caleb also says just John Byrne, not the today's version. Well, you're reading the right She-Hulk version.
Yeah, that's the right one.
Absolutely.
And maybe Slots run to a degree, but I think Burns is better.
Absolutely. So I don't know. I thought we would get 2 in, but we only got through the 1. I do want to give a bit special thanks to Frank Zanka and Destiny Horizons for supporting and sponsoring today's video. The Destiny Aurora Kickstarter campaign is live. In here, let's play this trailer again. Thank you very much.
The wildly successful Destiny Aurora universe. The release of the audiobook version marks the newest addition to the franchise. Follow the thrilling adventures of the starship Destiny Aurora and its crew as they hunt for the alien assassin who murdered Jace Carver's wife. Their epic confrontation will change Jace's life forever and keep readers guessing till the end. Go to the link below and listen to the first chapter absolutely free.
Like I said, thank you very much. There is a link in the video description. There's also information on how you can find this in the ticker at the bottom. Gabe from Comical Opinions also recently reviewed Lords of LA, which is available in that Kickstarter campaign. You want to see that review, possibly pick up that graphic novel. You can get that in the video description as well. I want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining us. Good to see Skip made it here at the end. Had a lot of fun talking about comic books. Well, we only talk about ASM 26 and then the people kind of took over the channel, but that's when it's the best, when the people are dictating what we do. Let's talk about some comic book recommendations. Eric O'Sullivan, you got a bag full of funny books for us.
I got a bag of funny books.
You got Titans #1 and you got Avengers #1 in there?
No, but I got a ubiquitous flat, the brown paper bag of funny books. Let's see. Okay, I took a chance on some old friends. I was a big fan of Powers by Bendis and Emming, so I picked up Murder, Inc., Jagger Rose by Bendis and Emming. It's a complete strikeout. Not a good comic
that
book.
one.
Didn't like it. I picked up Vigil #1 by DC Comics. It's okay. It's my first Ram V or Ram the Fifth comic, and it's all right. I got it for the first appearances. So if any of these characters pan out, this will go up.
You're a dirty speculator?
No, I like the game. Though.
You dirty speculator.
Dirty.
I read the Overstreet Guide to Grading Comics and shit. I love this stuff. I got Batman, Superman World's Finest 15. That was really fun. There's something I got from Yule's channel. I watch Yule's weekly show at Fantastic Comics. He suggested Count Dante from Scout Comics. This is fun. I almost
read it because it looked like it had Forge on the cover.
You know what? This has fake ads. It's based upon Count Dante, who had these like the kung fu, death touch ads in comic books in the 70s. So this is kind of based on a true story, and it's fun. It's cheeky. It's very Tarantino-like. Big thumbs up for me. I got Flash 799. It was okay. Not great. I got Hunt, Kill, Repeat from Mad Cave. This is issue #2. I'm really looking forward to issue #3. This is a really fun comic for me. It's got mythology, gods and goddesses, and I'd say take a chance on something you've never read before and pick it up. And my pick of the week, honestly, X-Men 22 by Jerry Duggan. Yeah, Doc. I'm sorry. But
better than Batman, Superman, World's Finest 15.
I liked it. I mean, because it's about villains. It's a great jump on spot. It's pretty much it catches you up on a lot of stuff. I've walked into X-Men. I walked out of X-Men a couple of years ago, so this is my first issue of the X-Men in a couple of years. I'm taking a chance on it, and I was really pleased. There's a really nice use of the stupid Krakoa protocol stuff involving Wolverine and getting killed all the time. So it works. And I just might pick up 23. I'll see where it goes.
I can tell you, as someone who was reading everything X-Men for several years,
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Duggan is not consistent. If he writes a good series or story, that does not mean the next issue will be good.
True. But
it means the law of inevitability occurred, and even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah. That's true.
So what that means is wait another 2 to 3 or 4 years before you pick up another one.
He also gave us X-Men Green, so I'm like, there's a balance there. I understand.
He gave you X-Men Green, and he also gave you
Hellfire
misogynist Mr. Freeze.
And I just want to thank you once again, Wes, for having me on. And I'm almost up to 1,000 subscribers on my channel, my little growing channel. It's great. And thank you everyone in the chat. And thank everyone in the panel today. Skip, God bless you. Namaste. And sending you all my good energy, man. Seriously, you got this.
Very nice.
Thank
Who else
you, Wes.
wants to recommend some comic books? How about you, Drew? Well, Drew, you and I are doing a video that'll be up tomorrow talking about the best comic books of the week.
But I will recommend everyone pick this up if you can find it. You can get it on Amazon right now. It's the Penguin edition of the Black Panther with stuff by Rick Buckler, Don McGregor, Billy Graham. If you've never checked this out, the art in this
first appearance of Killmonger's in there, baby.
is beautiful. You can get it on Amazon right now. The cover price is $50. You can get it on Amazon right now for $30. So that's what's free shipping. Do check this out, guys. Worth every cent.
Does it have a dust cover version, or is it?
No dust cover. It's just it's a hardcover and paperback. You can get.
Very nice. And we will be talking about the best comic books of the week tomorrow. First thing tomorrow morning on the channel as well. Gabe, you've been reading a lot of comic books this week. I saw you gave out some pretty generous scores here and there. What are you recommending?
I've got a few actually, because we've surprisingly we had some good ones that came out from the big two, as well as some other publishers. So first, because that's just my wheelhouse. I like kitschy comedy horror. I'm going to recommend Elvira and Monsterland #1. I like, it's cheesy and it's corny and it's pop, and that's my kind of wheelhouse. So I love that stuff. I'm also going to recommend Moriarty, Clockwork Engine #4. It's the end of that arc, which is basically League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with Dr. Jekyll and Sherlock Holmes and a bunch of those characters, and that turned out really well. So I'm very happy with that series. On the Marvel side, surprisingly, Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider #1. I thought if you're going to level set and take a kind of a slice out of that history and get reacquainted with Danny Ketch and really get into a bare bones but basic but really solid Ghost Rider story, that's it. And that turned out pretty well. I'm also going to recommend Flash 799. It's wacky, but it's a lot of fun. It's wacky fun. And so if you want to see Jeremy Adams go out with a big bang before he turns it all over in 800, that's a good one to pick up. I'm also going to recommend World's Finest #15. It is a robot uprising worldwide with every robot cameo, and Wade dug deep into character canon with that one. He's picking out names I don't even remember or may never have heard of, but it was a lot of fun. It was a little bit too busy in spots, but overall I liked it a lot. And I'm also going to recommend Superman number 4 for the ending alone. Just for that ending where there's a last minute twist reveal with Silver Banshee that I laughed out loud at that one. And maybe I'm just a sucker for kind of those twist moments, but that one turned out great. So that's my recommendation list for the week.
Man.
Oh, also, comicalopinions.com, please, for all your indie comic needs and every small publisher. Also for the big two, Weird Science Marvel Comics, Weird Science DC Comics, and the Weird Science YouTube channel just surpassed 1,000 subs. So they're growing. Jim is doing great stuff. Please subscribe and follow along, and we're going to make some great things happen. Or Jim is, anyway.
Gabe, when you first started doing your recommendations, I could tell that Drew wanted to puke in his mouth. He did not agree with you, sir.
On what?
All of them.
I'm going with everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I forget at this point. I don't know.
I'm just teasing. Drew's all right. He's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring Drew around on Predator. I'm gonna on Ed Brisson's Predator. I'm gonna bring him around.
No.
Look, if he's gonna try and sell me on Ram v Swamp Thing, I'm gonna try and sell him on Ed Brisson's Predator.
Whatever that. Okay. Final. Let's do some recommendations from Josh. Josh, you got any recommendations? You reading comic books again?
I am. I've only read 2 books this week. Again, I had my licensing exam yesterday, so for the past week I prioritized that. But
so you had a driver's test?
No,
oh.
No. I wish it was just a driver's test. No, I read The Mighty Barbarians by Michael Morici. I think it's fun. It's not a perfect book, but it's pulling a lot of characters from folklore and kind of he's kind of playing it as, before the Justice League, before the Avengers, and it's a fun take. So I'm really curious to see where it goes, and I'm enjoying it so far. And Morici's been pretty solid as a writer. Like I consider him one of those that you can count on to deliver quality stories. And then the other thing that I read that I was kind of surprised by is The Seasons Have Teeth by Dan Waters. And it's one of those things where I should not like this story because it's very clearly a commentary on climate change, but it's presented in such a weird way where the seasons are actual creatures, they're monsters. And I'm curious to see where it goes because there's only 2 issues and each issue is very different. But I want to see where it goes, and I'd kind of trust Dan Waters as a writer as well. So we'll see.
Well, no one's happier about you recommending a Dan Waters comic than Skip it, Tosh. I think that's one of his 2 or 3 favorite writers right now.
Nice. See, there you go, Skip.
you want to support Skip, go check out that comic book as well. We do have a couple of super chats before we get to Doc. Common Sense, Wes, you ran about everyone getting powers like Linda Park. Batman don't count anymore because he survived in space with no spacesuit. That's bad writing. He didn't develop powers. Chip Zdarsky just forgot how to write a goddamn comic book. Right?
Yes.
Eric liked it.
That was my jumping
great.
off point, by the way. I have not picked up an issue of Batman.
And you
I
didn't
swear to
miss
God.
anything. That's
No.
very
He's got
smart of you.
he's got a plan for everything. He's Batman. Come on.
No, there's
Come on.
Batman and there's Bat God, and that falls into that Bat God category. And people that are shitty writers fall into the Bat God category. Sorry,
That re-entry from space was ridiculous.
He was over the top.
It's not just a re-entry from space. It's traveling from the moon, making it all the way to Earth, landing at the Fortress of Solitude.
Who else could do it?
and surviving the impact of the landing. Can you be a puddle?
It made Scott Snyder's Batman look street level,
Pretty
and
realistic,
that's
yeah.
god awful.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Common Sense, Superboy, Arcade Kings, Mosley, No One, Danny Ketch. So he's recommending Superboy, Arcade Kings, Mosley, No One, and Danny Ketch. Very nice. You got to throw some commas in there, man. You're making me work for it. I like that Common Sense. He's always testing me.
And that's the if I understand correctly, that's the Connor Kent Superboy.
Yes,
The
it
one
is.
that we
Superboy,
did round
Boy
robin.
of Tomorrow, or whatever it is, Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's been looking forward to that one from Kenny Porter for a long time. Oh man, Doc, do you have any comic books you want to recommend this week? Are you still out?
No. I got some here. We're gonna go with. I picked up a bunch of these the other day. So classic X-Men.
Art
This
Adams.
is- yeah, all of these with the Art Adams covers. I mean, these things are gorgeous. Check that
Beautiful.
book out.
Yeah, I'm
I
going up.
picked up like issues like 2 through 20 the other day for $1 a piece.
Nice.
He's going to be
so-
at Terrific Con in July. I'm planning on going up there. Take a bunch of those for him to sign.
I probably would. I got a bunch more over here, but those are the 4 that I wanted to. But I'm like, okay, I'll show these. These are, I think, issues 6 through 8, or 6, 7, 8, and 9. I think are the 4 of the top 5 covers of that, because I mean, granted, number 1 is just a classic.
Yeah,
I mean,
Absolutely.
classic X-Men. Yeah, no fucking pun intended. God damn it. But no, it's really, really good.
Very
And
nice.
and they're good ways to kind of expand some of those old stories.
Absolutely. So those are our comic book recommendations this week. Thank you very much once again to Frank Zanka and Destiny Aurora Kickstarter campaign. There's a link in the video description. If you're looking for a great graphic novel, an audiobook, novels, there's all kinds of stuff on that campaign. Definitely support the people that are supporting the channel. Really appreciate that one. Big time shout out to Drew and all the success with his ongoing crowdfunding campaign as well. And definitely a big Care Bear stare to my boy Skip and Tosh. I'm glad that you got through your first round of chemo. You got the next one coming out, and I'm imagining you're going to knock that one out of the park too. You're going to kick some butt and take some names, my friend. We'll see y'all next weekend.